Over 2 months passed and the spotlight beams on some of the biggest stars in the motorsports industry to return with a stage set and one of the biggest and baddest tracks in all of the schedule. Live overhead, the virtual Talladega Super Speedway, we welcome you to the opening race in Season 6 of the Monday Night Racing Pro Series presented by Interstate Batteries and the Proceller8 300. Back with you for another season of MNR. We could not be more excited to have you join us where, alongside Jacob Hitz in the broadcast booth, my name is Kenneth Leno. Blake McCandless tonight. We'll have him over the course of the season. We'll talk about that in a little bit. We've got Ryan Bauer producing all the shots you'll see this evening. He's got cameras provided by Gary Sexton. Jacob, it is hard to believe that just a couple of months ago we had a driver hoisting the Bob Jenkins Memorial Trophy at the Carolina Esports Hub in stunning fashion. We'll also detail that in just a little bit. But right where we are, we pick up right where we left off. We're back at Talladega, this time for an opener unlike any other.
Gosh, those 2 months went by really quick. Good evening, Kevin. Good evening, everybody. And Season 6 kind of snuck up on us. The NASCAR season said and done, and now it's time for M&R to come back throughout the winter months, kind of filling that void that we have before the NASCAR season comes back in full swing in February. And this is going to be a lot of fun these next couple of weeks, going all the way down through. A lot of new drivers this year, a lot of new car track combinations this year, and I think those two components are really going to be interesting and add something different to what we have here in MNR. We're kind of getting away from the basics. We saw a lot of returners from last year, both on the racetrack and the racetracks that we were going to. This time around, we're throwing caution to the wind. We're going to Pocono. We're going north of the border. We're going to CTMP. We're going to Japan. We're going to Twin Rig. That's next week. This schedule, very different from last year. I think the racing's going to be better this time around as well, just because it's unpredictable for everybody. A lot of last season, you had guys that had some experience with the track car combinations and guys that didn't. This time around, it's going to be almost a clean slate for everybody, starting with this race here tonight with the car tomorrow here at Talladega.
Unpredictable and new, Jacob, the two words that you could use to identify this Season 6 schedule for the Monday Night Racing Pro Series presented by Interstate Batteries. We had this schedule released in our championship finale a couple of months ago, but we've had a little more time to marinate in the type of combos that we're going to see over the next couple of months until February 13th when we will have another championship race. And you said it, Jacob, we're going all across the schedule with many different types of combos. ARCA at Twin Ring Motegi, that really hasn't been seen in a long time. Tonight, the opener, Talladega with COTs. I don't think we've seen this combo, frankly, ever in MNR history. And then you look at all the other ones that follow it, like it Canadian Tire with the NASCAR Next Gen car. We've seen the Next Gen create some incredible races on the super speedways. Now we get to see what it's like to handle on a road course. You got the 1987 cars at Auto Club, and then just so many obstacles until the playoffs start with the SLMs, the super late models at the Richmond Raceway, and that goes all the way to the Homestead Miami Speedway, where we will again crown a champion there in South Florida, but with a different car that time, the Xfinity car this time. It's a lot of excitement on the schedule, Jacob, and excitement again, picking up right where we left off, because a couple of months ago, we had 18-year-old Presley Sora hoist the Bob Jenkins Memorial Trophy, and I don't think anyone could predict the way that race was going to end, coming out of turn 4 in a dead heat battle with Anthony Alfredo chasing for the start-finish line. I think all of us included, Jacob, we're all just with our hands over our heads, our mouths wide open. We cannot believe the finish for the title.
In the live recording from you guys at the Carolina Esports Hub, you can hear the crowd going wild this time around, and here it is. This is the last lap of last season. Anthony Alfredo within striking distance of Presley Sora. They'll go into turn number 3, and you know, they talked about it after the race was over that, yeah, there's some contact here. Alfredo drives it in deep, gets into him, moves him up the racetrack, little boot scoot and boogie, and Sora said, you know what, he hit me, it's fair game. Turns back down into him, they both crash. Alfredo was not happy with this hit right here. That's Corey Heim coming in like a tactical missile, just flying in, hitting him. Sora also gets hit. He bounces in front of the start-finish line first before not only Alfredo could roll across, but also before James Bickford, who avoided all of that, could get to the scene. A wild finish to a really wild season. We'll see if any of that comes back to bite Presley Sora, Anthony Alfredo, if that tension stays throughout this season, we'll just have to wait and see. But really, all of those guys in the championship 4 from a season ago have a pretty good shot at making it at least to the playoffs, if not all the way to Homestead.
And that was an intense battle all the way to the finish. I mean, nobody could really predict it. Nobody could really describe it properly right after it happened. It took us a while to really catch our breath and really identify how it was all going to end and what happened. And 18-year-old Presley Sora, again, continues the streak of different Monday Night Racing Pro Series champions. We haven't had anyone repeat Presley Sora, the defending champion, coming into tonight's race from the Talladega Super Speedway. Well, here at M&R, we like to consider everybody part of a family here in sim racing, but we get to talk about family in a different way with this feature video. Take a look.
Which M&R driver would I least like to date my sister? Ooh.
Let me pull up the old group chat real quick, and that's what I'll really.
God. Oh man, I'm trying to think.
The M&R driver that I would least like to date my sister would absolutely be Leighton Sabile. He has absolutely no business being part of my family.
Off the top of my head, it's gonna have to be SVG.
Mark Rabilis. Easy. Mark Rabilis. No way.
I would probably say Matt Stolnak. He comes off a little cocky. You know, this man, Matt's a pretty cocky guy. I love you, Matt, but that can't happen.
Oh, Matt Stolnak. Yeah, me and him don't get along too good on the track, so I don't think we'd get along too good if he was dating my sister.
It's gotta be Stolnak. I mean, listen, he's a nice guy, but if my sister brought Sonic home, I could see through it. I could see through the niceness. I know he's fake nice. I know it.
Seth Eckert.
Stephen Ellis. No Stephen Ellis. Get him away. I would not welcome him in my home.
Not date 100% Reed Wilson. Too many stories.
Well, Ricky, no doubt. Yeah. Nah, not Ricky.
Colin Fern. Love you, buddy, but Colin Fern.
I think you got to go with Colin Fern again. I don't know if I trust that guy. He's seems like he's quite the ladies' man, so got to watch out for him.
Colin Fern, probably, and I love Colin, but
the series that I would not want to date my sister would 100% be Colin Fern.
I think that's probably going to be the unanimous answer. I would never, ever be okay with Colin Fern dating my sister.
Me.
Are we surprised at all, Jacob, that Colin Fern's name was brought up that many times? I'm surprised that Matt Stolnak was brought up as many times as about Colin Fern, but a little fun there, Jacob, with all of the drivers being able to say that answer, and Colin Fern, I guess, at the top of the list. He had 4, I think, out of the entire batch. That's a lot.
Well, that's 4, including himself. You have to keep that one in mind, too. Not only did other people threw him under the bus, he walked out in front of the bus asking to get hit in that situation. So there you have it.
You know what? Self-awareness is best in that case. Colin Fern knows he can. He's probably a little playboy, just depending on how the other drivers have answered those questions. But a lot of fun there. I know we're going to have a lot of that fun as well over the course of the season. We had Eric Estep with a lot of the great feature videos, Devin Henry with his feature videos last season as well. A lot of excitement, a lot of new faces, and so much more to look forward to here in this first race of many here in Season 6 on the Monday Night Racing Pro Series presented by Interstate Batteries. Pre-race is not quite over just yet. A lot we have to walk over before we get to the green flag. Here from Alabama. Don't go anywhere. We've got more next on Podium Esports.
Get the edge on your competition with P8 Performance Gummies. Formulated specifically for gamers and the esports industry, we packed our gummies with all the good stuff, including ingredients that are clinically proven to help tired eyes, improve reaction times, and help suppress computer vision syndrome. Take your focus and endurance to the next level and try P8 Gummies today. Now available at Proceller8.com. Plus, if you're mad about gaming, we're looking to partner with influencers just like you. Drop us a line at support at Proceller8.com to see if you qualify to try our gummies for free. It's officially game on with all new P8 gummies.
This is an Interstate battery.
more pros trust this than any other out there. Yeah, more pros. More. Even more pros. Keep going, Moss. Look, we're gonna run out of time before we run out of pros who like Interstate. I mean, we'll run out of time before we even run out of left-handed pros who knit. These pros are everywhere, which means so is this battery. Right around the corner, up the street, everywhere. Interstate Batteries, outrageously dependable.
I ain't trying to bring you down, but for real, you might as well give up now. Think you got a chance, but I don't see how. Got a real tight grip when I hold that crown. My life been good and bad and all around. The more things I lost, the more I found. Everybody wanna be like us, we don't stop, cause the top just ain't enough. I'm the first one in and the last one out. Whoever owns the place gotta drag me out. Came here ready to fight on this night, you better just run for your life. Run for your life. Run for your life.
Welcome back to coverage of the opening race here for the Season 6 Monday Night Racing Pro Series presented by Interstate Batteries and the Proceller8 300 from the virtual Talladega Super Speedway. Jacob Hitz, Kenneth Bueno along with you for the ride. And I know, Jacob, we don't have Blake McCandless with us in the booth. We'll have him next week with ARCA at Twin Ring Motegi, but he is involved in our favorite part, or my least favorite because I'm terrible at it, but everyone's favorite part of our broadcast, taking the picks on who's going to take tonight's checkered flag here from Talladega Super Speedway. Jacob, I'll let you go first.
Well, and we're doing things a little bit different this time around. You're going to see all four show up here at the bottom, and I'll explain mine here in a second. But how we're doing this is it's sort of college game day-esque, you know, how they'll do their picks or whatever, but they also have a pick that, hey, somebody will, you know, might pull an upset. Well, they get points for if they're right, if they cover the spread, whatever. We're going to kind of do something the same way along those lines, and we'll have a better explanation for it next week after we've gone through a race. But if the guy that you picks wins, you get a certain amount of points, top 5, a little less, top 10, a little less, so on and so on. I'm going with Matt Stolnick, and it's simple why I picked him. We also made a new rule this year that you can only pick a driver once throughout the whole season. So I can't pick Matt Stolnick the rest of the year. I looked at the schedule and thought, well, who is somebody that I'm going to pick tonight that I won't pick the rest of the year? Matt Stolnick's the guy. He was pretty fast in practice. That's why I'm going with him. Give me Matt Stolnick this week. Sorry, Matt.
Well, you can't knock him. You can't knock him. He is a former Super Speedway winner in MNR history, so you can't quite just scoff it off quite yet. I'm going to go with Gary Sexton. It's a new number for him this year in the number 23 this time around, but it's the same old Gary Sexton we've seen on the Super Speedways. Very quick, very fluent with his teammates as well, so I could expect Gary Sexton to be at the very front of the field with a shot at winning this thing by the time we get to lap 113. We got Blake and Eric's picks on tap as well. Blake going to go with the 77 of Josh Bilicki for Rick Ware Esports. An interesting pick. I think definitely a formidable one as well. Eric, though, going to go with more of an underdog this time through Case Collenbach in the 84, now part of Case Collenbach Racing with his fellow friend, the number 50 of Gabe Wood. So there's our picks. Hopefully we get some solid points at the end of tonight's race going into next week. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be at the bottom of the pit by the time the end of the season happens at Homestead of Miami Speedway, but we'll just see. It's going to be a lot of fun over the course of Season 6. So we've got time for all of our pre-race ceremonies. We'll take it trackside and we'll kick things off with the invocation by the league owner, Ford Martin.
Hey race fans, Ford Martin, owner of Monday Night Racing. Before we begin, I just want to say thank you to all of our fans and our competitors for being a part of MNR and growing it to what it is today. Before we begin our invocation, I want to take a moment of silence for not only Coy Gibbs and our Joe Gibbs Racing family, but also Noah Lewis's father. Thank you, and let's begin. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the many blessings you have brought forward to us. Lord, sometimes I know we don't understand your plan, but your plan is always the way. Lord, thank you for bringing your Son into this world in Jesus Christ. Thank you for bringing him into this world, knowing that he is here to help us and help us lead the way. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for another season of Monday Night Racing. We ask you bring safety upon the drivers wherever they may be, and let's have a great night of racing. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
And now, with the performance of our national anthem, please welcome Jean Carlos.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land and of the free and the home of
And now, for the most famous words in motorsports, here's ESPN NFL's Mike Clay.
What's up to my Monday Night Racing family? This, of course, is Mike Clay from ESPN, or better known to you as the guy in your rear view mirror, or, you know, Brett Baldeck. He's behind me quite often. But nonetheless, I'm here to get you ready for Season 6 of Monday Night Racing with the Proceller8 300 at Talladega. So let's do this thing. I'll be with you guys here in a few months. We still have some football to get to, but it's time to start this season. Drivers, start your engines!
Just a couple of moments away from the green flag in the Proceller8 300 from the virtual Talladega Superspeedway to kick off Season 6 of the Monday Night Racing Pro Series presented by Interstate Batteries. Let's head down trackside to your starting grid, see exactly where every driver will start over the 113 laps we'll have here from the Superspeedway. And it all starts with Tampa, Florida's Chase Cabrey with the Roasted Gems Coffee. Pole Award with a 41.962. He'll be the first to see the green flag. He will have defending series champion Presley Sora to his outside in row number 1. Season number 4 champion Adam Cabot rolls off inside row number 2 in P3. He'll have Crypto Autosports DJ Cummings to his outside in the number 10 machine. David Schildhouse sporting Habana Brisa, some new colors on his number 20 Chevrolet. He'll roll off inside the top 5. He will have new driver Joey Padgett in the 83 to his outside in P6. Connor Berry in the 02 rolls off in number P7. He'll have James Bickford for the Charlotte Phoenix to his outside in P8. Final 2 drivers in the top 10. Jacob Hitz, the 47 of Jordan Buster, and the number 13 Washington DC zone Raja Caruth.
Two guys had to qualify their way in right there in row number 5. Max Kennan, he rolls off from row 6. Justin Melillo, always speedy at these plate tracks. He lines up in 12th. George Belfans Jr., Gary Sexton, the two drivers that made the playoffs a season ago, they line up in row number 7, 13th and 14th. Gabe Wood, Zach Osborne in 15th and 16th. Osborne, one of the new drivers to the series this season. I know it's got Gary Sexton's photo in there, but I promise you they don't look alike. Josh Balicki, Robbie Lyons, they're in row number 9. Balicki back for another season, and then Bailey Turner and Garrett Smithley round out the top 20.
It's a new number, a new sponsor, Critical Path Security, on board with the number 26, Orion Vargas. He rolls off in 21st. You have Anthony Alfredo to his outside in P22. Row number 11, Joey Savacci in the number 35. He'll roll off 23rd. He'll have Preston Partis, the P Money driver, on his outside in P24. Will Rogers for Space Station Gaming will be in the top 25. He'll have Colin Fern to his outside in P26. A lot of work for Colin Fern to do once we drop the green. Nick Olson for Grit Esports is 27th. He'll have Matt Stolnick in the 41 to his outside. Jacob Yurpik in P28. New driver Natalie Decker rolls off 29th tonight from Talladega, and she'll have Ford Martin to her outside in the number 07 machine. Seth Eggert in the 57 will be 31st, 32nd to the 58 of Charlie Brown. Ron Capps will be 33rd when we drop the green. Michael Massey to his outside in the 34th starting position. And then everybody below did not take time in qualifying at starts, but NASCAR Camping World Truck Series driver Corey Heim in 35th. Christian Eckes alongside him in P36. Stephen Ellis will be 37th, and it'll be 38th for the 01 of Joshua Slate, Brett Baldeck, Devin Henry, Case Kallenbach, and the 11 of Steve O'Font will be the final drivers in tonight's 42-car field from the virtual Talladega Super Speedway. And when we say Talladega Super Speedway, Jacob, we know exactly what's coming. Every stock car racing fan knows this track, knows the challenges. It's wide open, it's flat out, and it is unpredictable as it can always be.
The biggest and baddest track of the land. That's the way Talladega is. 2.66 miles. It's the bigger brother, I guess, to Daytona. It was built after Daytona, but the goal was to make it bigger and faster, and mission accomplished. 4 turns, 33 degrees of banking in the turns, 16.5 in the tri-oval. Pit speed, it is so slow, 55 miles an hour. When you're on the racetrack in these cars, no restrictor plates on these bad boys, you're getting up over 200 miles an hour. If you are in a tandem, and we'll talk about this throughout the race, you could be looking at almost 250 miles an hour. It is unbelievable how fast these things get.
That's exactly what I was going to point out. A solid one at that. These cars unrestricted, and they can go all the way. That means you're going to have a lot of discipline behind the wheel and with the feet on the racetrack with that throttle and brake pedal with the whole field around you. Here's a look at our race analysis on the bottom right of your screen for the Proceller8 300 from Talladega. We go 113 laps, basically 300 miles from this track. We go 483.75 kilometers. Fuel load at 75%, so that's going to prove an interesting challenge if we have a green flag run. That is a big if. We've got 5 sets of tires on pit road. These cars are unrestricted. These cars go all out. They definitely rip through these Goodyear Eagles, and so that may be a premium coming to the end of the race. We've got one faster pair given to every single driver here tonight in this 42-car field, and if we need them, those 3 green-white checkered attempts are available if we want to end this race under green. Not the hottest racetrack in the world, Talladega, this time through. It's an 85-degree track temp, 71 degrees in the air, partly cloudy skies on an afternoon on November 7th, so it is actually today. Usually we have May 15th, the original iRacing day, but we are in November. Things are starting to cool down here in the southeast, despite it still being rather hot comparative to almost everywhere else in the country. But a beautiful day in sim to go racing from the virtual Talladega Super Speedway. A lot on the line. We've got the defending champion on the outside of row number 1, a lot of new faces, and a lot of expectations ready to either be noted, anyone's to be broken, anything to note. It's all going to be listed down once we take this green flag from Talladega. The 39 and the 98, the first 2 that will see it, with Barney the Flagman at the top of the flag stand. Chase Cabry, the Floridian, Presley Sorrell, the defending champion, will roll through the tri-oval and to the long wait to that restart zone and the start-finish line. Field in the hands of Chase Cabry this time through. They'll head for the restart zone. Green flags in the air. We're racing in Season 6 of the Monday Night Racing Pro Series presented by Interstate Batteries. 235 miles an hour as they cross the start-finish line for lap 1, and it's defending champion Presley Sora, the 18-year-old, already at the helm of the field. Chase Cabrey settling in a second. DJ Cummings into your top 3. Not many moves made on the racetrack. Never mind. Already a challenge for the lead on the back straightaway. Jacob hits Cabrey underneath. Presley Sora on the 98.
DJ Cummings looking as well on that 10. He poked the nose out, but he stays right in line with that 39 of Chase Cabrey as they make their way through turns 3 and 4. Sora all alone up on the high side of the racetrack. It's almost like the 1987 cars that are here on the service with these things. They're fast, they're out of control, and you need almost the entire racetrack in order to keep them on the racetrack and keep them pointed in the right direction. Cabrey leads lap number 2, and he'll lead them back to turn 1.
It's a very interesting strategy that you have to carry with these Car of Tomorrows here at Talladega Super Speedway. The last time we were at this track in the Monday Night Racing Pro Series presented by Interstate Batteries, it was with the next-gen cars, which are a lot slower, a lot more packed together. These cars way faster and way harder to control as the field wobbles into turn 3. Cabrey still holding control. DJ Cummings trying to make sure he does not door slam Presley Sora at the top of the racetrack. Joey Padgett in the 83 on the inside as well. So a single file train up around the top 5, and then more separation when you look back to David Schildhouse, to Connor Berry, and to James Bickford, who are going at it for P6 on the racetrack.
Nice little battle back there between those two guys. As you talked about, Barry, the newcomer, up on the high side. You got James Bickford downstairs, and then David Schildhouse waiting in the wings right there. A couple of drivers that are seasoned veterans in Bickford and in Schildhouse. Former teammates at Charlotte Phoenix. Now Schildhouse with Alpha Prime. He's going to push Bickford right by Connor Berry in that 32. Moves Schildhouse into position number 7.
Veterans and Championship 4 appearance drivers in the past couple of seasons of MNR. Schildhouse with the win at Homestead in Miami to close off season 5. So a lot of momentum riding on him with the new team, the new announcement that he's the assistant general manager of Alpha Prime Racing, and the brand new colors. Havana Brisa on his Chevrolet Impala SS. It takes a while to get used to that. I'm used to saying Chevrolet Camaro, but we're taking you back in time with these Car of Tomorrows, and Schildhouse in a battle with the 02 of Connor Berry. That's for the entrance into the top 7. They're going to wobble, though, spread around the inside of the racetrack. That was Gabe Wood caught at the wrong end of it, forced 3 wide, had to back out of it, but the field packing up this time, Jacob, in a turn 3, so a lot more closeness as these guys get a little more comfortable.
Yeah, Gabe Wood thought about going up the middle. It was contact. Barry got the outside wall, came down and got into Schildhouse coming up off turn 2. That's why Gabe Wood took the evasive action, took the apron, came back onto the racetrack, and they both passed Chase Cabrey, our pole sitter now. Max Kennan will do the same as they head back into turn number 1. And I've noticed that out of a lot of guys coming off turn number 2 so far, Kenneth. I saw Anthony Alfredo. He won at Talladega earlier on in season number 5. You're on the high side coming off turn number 2. If you're slipping and sliding, you're going to hit the outside wall. It seems like that is Calamity Corner, at least early on.
When you're going so fast, those tires can only hold on for so long. As Presley Sora now looks to the inside, he'll look to take the lead back away from the 83 of Joey Padgett. And how about Adam Cabot in the 17, weaving his way down low. Cabot started 3rd. That's where he is now until we get to the trial. We're finally able to nose ahead under Joey Padgett in the 83. And one thing to note about Season 6 of this Monday Night Racing Pro Series, Jacob, is the newness of the field. Yes, you've got the veterans like Adam Cabot, who's been around for a couple of seasons, David Schildhouse, James Bickford. You've got all of the regulars that you've been seeing for a long time, but then you've got all the new faces. Joey Padgett from Tallahassee, Florida for Team Joyride, a driver in legend cars. There's just a little, I think, a problem there at a turn 2 to tap the outside wall. He'll drop a couple of positions. You look at drivers like Chase Cabrey, a new face, Connor Berry, a new face. So many drivers that are new to this field that we'll have to explain about just because it's their first season, most likely in MNR, and there's a lot of competition on the line having those newcomers come in.
And a lot of those newcomers are at the front of the field. You don't have to look too far back outside the top 10 before you get a couple more in there. Joey Savicki in the 35. He's back in the 18th position right now. Zach Osborne, he's trying to claw his way through the field. It's just a matter of time before these guys get rolling. As we got one car on the apron. Robbie Lyons has an issue coming off turn number 2. He is on the flat, letting everybody buy some damage on the right rear of that number 2 Chevy. So some issues for Robbie Lyons, but he keeps it rolling. Looks like Justin Malillo kind of joining him back there. Looks like some contact between those two.
Yeah, they made contact going into the corner of the 2 in the 53. Also got the 30 of Zach Osborne, another new driver involved in this. It was a little scuffle. 53 chased down the racetrack. Robbie Lyons went sideways. A bit of damage on the rear end of his machine. The Seminole, Florida native who was a champion a couple of seasons ago. And And it looks like already some troubles. Fortunately, though, we will stay green, and it is Adam Cabot now at the helm of the field, but he'll have a challenge right underneath him coming out of turn 2. Presley Sora, help from Joey Padgett, and already, Jacob Hitz, how many times have we seen lead changes over the first 9 laps? It feels like every lap somebody's got an edge.
It's just a matter of momentum racing right now, and that's going to put Presley Sora back out in front. String a couple of good corners together. You're not scrubbing the tires too much. You're not hitting the outside wall, and as long as you stay in the draft, you're going to have the run to take the lead. That's what Sora did right now, and he's got to hold off a hard-charging Joey Padgett, who's in second, and now here comes David Schildhouse to the inside. He'll take that spot away and choo-choo train Padgett up on the outside.
Schildhouse will look for second. Looks like he's got it. You're right on board with your current race leader and defending series champion from Cambridge City, Indiana, out of Crypto Autosport, Preston Sora, the 18-year-old teenager. Here comes Schildhouse now to the inside with a move. He's got help from the 17 of Adam Cabot. And what I'm watching right now is the field's starting to pack in a little bit. You see that group tailing all the way to roughly 14th place. Gary Sexton in the 23, who started 14th. That's exactly where he is as we head for the trial bulls. We're side by side for the race lead. Sora still holding on top of David Schildhouse as they cross the start-finish line back to turn 1. And it seems like, again, comfortability seems to grow over the past couple 11 laps, and we're seeing it work so far. A lot of these guys being careful, but also being as competitive as they could ever be. Here's a look on board with Gary Sexton. He's going to trail behind Anthony Alfredo, who is the defending winner here at the Talladega Superspeedway last time we came with the NASCAR Next Gen cars, and Gary now under fire from Preston Pardis. Seems to be really, Jacob, the last couple of cars in this train. It looks like Caruth Smithley and Nick Olson might be next to challenge.
Yeah, and these guys just riding around at the tail end of the pack. They're not looking for anything too crazy. They just want to stay in this thing as long as they possibly can. Got a couple on pit road. Michael Massey is on pit road in the 27. Brett Baldeck is there as well in the 44. Baldeck comes on, 4 tires and fuel for Massey. He had a spin in turn number 3 up at the back half of the field. Actually came back up into traffic and collected Baldeck. There was no caution for it, even though multiple cars in the racing line. We stay green for now as the leaders continue to shuffle down the back straightaway. Joey Padgett, Gabe Wood getting bodied around, and Bickford and Sora side by side leaning on each other through turns 3 and 4.
Interestingly enough, no caution, so we'll stay green. Our first 12 here in the Proceller8 300 under clean green racing conditions. Schildhouse makes his way to the lead. Presley Sora going to have to look back. No help for the moment, but he's going to be able to have some help this time through a little bit from the 0-2 of Connor Berry. Gabe Wood might be the next one up top to give assistance, but already noticing that trail of cars to the inside of the racetrack. It's very unlike the NASCAR Next Gen race we had just 1 season ago, where it looked like the inside and the outside were very well formed up. The third line can easily be formed as well if you get enough patrons up there, but the shortest way around, it seems to be the fastest here, Jacob, with the way these cars handle and how fast they go. Here's a look on board from Joey Padgett inside the top 6.
Well, and with those next-gen cars, those things get so packed together around this racetrack that you just get huge runs and you're able to make those happen. With these things, it is a lot more like chess. You have to play your moves. You have to string corners together in order to get to guys and get by them. And you know, initially on the schedule, this and the Next Gen race at Talladega were flipped. Next Gen's at Talladega was going to be the season opener, and then this would have been the last race before the playoffs. They did the old switcheroo, and this is the season opener. We end the regular season here again at Talladega in those Next Gen cars. So we're going to have 2 completely different races here at Talladega, and both of them are going to be pretty fun.
And could you have imagined if that COT race at Talladega was the final race before the playoffs instead of the season opener? That would have been something to behold, but we've got our season opener here. Here's a look on board with the number 69. This is Joey Sabachi here, one of the newer drivers in the series. Nice to have his camera on the right side, a motocross driver. It seems to be a little further back in the field, just trying to get everything, his wits about him here in the middle of this pack. And again, so tough to drive these COTs at Talladega, even by yourself. It makes it a lot harder when you're in the draft, when you've got traffic around you, and you want to make sure you're clear from all of the ruckus that can easily be created at a track this big. Here's a look at Corey Heim, looking underneath. It looks like Ford Martin. This is near the rear of the field. The second pack forming, starting with Will Rogers and the number 50 machine. He is 20th right now. Everybody behind them all single file, mostly just tallying for position. Corey Heim in the 51 had a big part to play in that championship race 1 season ago, Jacob, at the Homestead Miami Speedway. Good to see Corey Heim back, and he looks to the inside of Matt Stolnick, and a front row view for Ford Martin in the 07 back to turn 1.
Well, and remember, he started at the back of the field. He moved his way up, bounced off the outside wall, fell back just a hair, and now he's here in this second pack, just kind of riding around, keeping that thing clean. He's around guys that I would think that he trusts around the racetrack. They're not going to make any bad decisions. They're not going to put themselves into the outside wall, so he's comfortable racing with these guys, keeps his car clean, keeps everybody around him clean, and they're just going to lurk behind this lead pack. And this lead pack is all but single file down the front straightaway. Max Kennan and Joey Padgett, the only guys that are side by side in this lead pack for now.
And so far, it looks like it extends all the way to roughly 13th place. George Balfans Jr., who started 13th. That's exactly where he is right now. Not a lot of movement throughout the track. I think the biggest mover so far has to be Ryan Vargas, started 21st. He's up to P8 right now, looking underneath the 83 of Joey Padgett. He's got help from the 98 of Presley Sorrell. There's Bailey Turner behind him. You also look at Bailey Turner, by the way, as well. Started 19th. He's now up to P9. You look at 22nd to 11th for the defending Talladega winner.
Trouble, turn 3, one car around. Garrett Smithway gets into it. Connor Berry is upside down. The field is racing down on him in turn number 3. There is no caution. Connor Berry gets stuck in the outside retaining wall in turn number 3, flips upside down and down the racetrack. We stay green here at Talladega, but a huge crash for the newcomer Connor Berry in turn number 3.
Tough for Connor Berry in the 0-2. We'll see exactly what happened, and it looked like it started with a solo mistake out of Berry, high up off the racetrack, into the banking, into the outside wall, gets into Preston Pardis in the 42, and then bam, goes slamming, gets caught by the wall, flips end over end, but it's a single car incident, and we will stay green the first 18 laps without a single yellow. Connor Berry out of Jim Beaver Esports. Unfortunate ending for him. The caution will not wave, and Connor Berry will have to immediately tow the race car. Not the way you want to start M&R Season 6 if you're Connor Berry.
And starting himself in a deep hole. Remember, you do get one faster pair. The problem is that he did drive it to pit road, but he's still going to lose at least one lap, if not more than that, by sitting on pit road and trying to get tires, trying to get that faster pair. He is down off pit road right now, so he's at least going to use one lap, and he might lose more because he's out of the draft.
It's going to be tough, and even again, you look at the individuality, how it can really spread yourself apart from the competition with these COTs, the way you drive it, the way you discipline your feet in the pedals, with the acceleration, with the brake, and lifting off the gas, making sure everything's okay. It looks like there might have been a problem there for Gabe Wood. Drifted high up on the racetrack in the tri-oval. He's going to give up some spots. He'll fall to P13 on the racetrack, with George Balfans Jr. just ahead of him, but it all falls down the same at these super speedways, Jacob, where if you're by yourself, if you don't have draft, good luck to you. And most of the time, if you're by yourself and there's people in some sort of pack, even if it's just 2 or 3 cars, you are going to get swarmed, you are going to get hounded, and you're going to get passed at some point or even lapped, worst case scenario. So for the 0-2 of Connor Berry, a lot of trouble for him early on. And we'll see exactly if he can pick things up, hopefully get a caution. Raja Caruth into the outside.
Yeah, he's in the wall. Raja Caruth up and into the fence. He took a couple races off at the end of last year. He was running the outside on the outside of Anthony Alfredo through 3 and 4. Just got a little up too high, and that thing just did not turn on him. Maybe losing some tire grip on that race car. Got up into the outside wall. You talked about Gabe Wood giving up some spots though earlier. I think he was just trying to get out of harm's way and kind of get toward the back end of that pack where he wouldn't be involved with any side-by-side action. But Raja's okay. He's hanging on to the pack. He's got some help right now. Well, really no help behind him, but he's hanging on to the tail end, clinging on the draft of DJ Cummings right now, heading into turn number 3. So he's doing all right, just hanging with that lead pack, just barely, as they're coming around the front straightaway. David Schulthouse still out in front.
It's all you got to hope for, to at least have some draft if you lose all that momentum. And Caruth is going to plummet all the way to 17th on the racetrack, trying to tail behind in the draft, the 10 of DJ Cummings. We'll see exactly if he's able to pick things up or if a caution does come out. Got some lap traffic over the front at the exit of turn 2, but it doesn't look like it's going to be the biggest factor for the leaders so far. Here's a look at Rogers. Will Rogers there coming onto pit road. Looks like he's got a couple of others to follow it as well. Looks like Corey Hyman, the 51, coming onto pit road. Steve Alfont exiting pit road. So a lot of stops earlier on. We did talk about 75% fuel. We weren't expecting pit stops to probably be this early, but here comes the field. Schildhouse leading them all in.
Just 22 laps is all these guys will take, and they are crashing. They are all piling up. One car upside down It's Nick Olson. He flies through the air. George Belfans Jr. is parked against the inside wall. You've got multiple cars crashed at pit road. One car, it's Matt Stolnick, hits the cone. These guys were coming too fast down the front straightaway. They were not ready for pit road speed. And boy, oh boy, did they pile on in as they were trying to make it to pit road speed, checking the black flags to see if anybody has one. Stephen Ellis, the lone guy with the black flag at this point. Everybody else is okay, but a lot of damage. Nick Olson especially, he went flying through the air trying to get down onto pit road.
And it all started with the 94 of George Balfans Jr. came in a little too hot, locked up the brakes, drifted the car sideways. He was just behind the 5 of Bailey Turner, and then Nick Olson absolutely nowhere to go. He gets tackled around, and then bam, into the side. One of the cars go, and Olson goes for a ride. That's going to be a huge hit for the Grit Esports machine. As Presley Sora, you look at him coming out of pit road, looks like Chase Cabry has transitioned to your new race lead, but he has also come down pit road for service as well. He's joined by Roger Carruth, Joey Padgett in the 83, Anthony Alfredo, who I believe has also picked up some damage.
Hold on. Sora missed his box. Sora missed his box. He is on pit road. He has to pit again. Presley Sora missed his box when he was on pit road that first time around. He is on pit road now, trying to get service to that 98. He missed his box when he came onto pit road on the first attempt. That's going to put Schildhouse back in front, and a disaster for Presley Sora. He's going to lose the draft.
And you saw some trouble right in front of him as well. The 27, Michael Massey, drifted the car sideways, towed it to the pit lane. So it looks like some more time going to be bled off there as David Schildhouse takes over the lead. Adam Cabot to follow in P2 by roughly 1.7 seconds. But Schildhouse may have to worry because they are catching up and catching up quick. Max Kennan behind the number 17. Looks like they've got the 26 of Ryan Vargas. They also have Corey Heim and James Bigford in the mix as well. Corey Heim not in running for the lead lap position, but he is still in the mix as well in the draft. Here's a look at David Schildhouse. The focus there on the right side of your screen as he tries to hold on to the lead after the first round of green flag stops.
So Schildhouse is out in front right now, and that's heartbreaking for Presley Sora. We know he had a really fast car. He comes back out onto the racetrack in the 33rd position. He's going to come out with a couple of guys right now. Brett Baldeck in front of him, Colin Fern behind him. Colin Fern started from pit road. He missed the grid to start this race, so that's why we haven't heard much of anything from the Colin Fern machine, who was a contender for the championship. Problem is, look in the mirror, David Schildhouse is maybe some 20-30 car lengths back. They are not far away at all.
And he doesn't have a lot of help either. They just got past the 44 of Brett Baldeck. Fern was trying to hang on to the rear end of Presley Sora's machine, the 98 and the 86, both 30th and 31st on the racetrack. Some of the last cars in that batch before you get to drivers, one lap down or more, and that does start with the 51 of Corey Heim. Natalie Decker also a lap down. Matt Stolnick also a lap down. George Balfans Jr. with his mistake also one lap down on the racetrack as he was entering pit road, had to lock things up, and things did not get pretty from there. It's a little scary around David Schildhouse, though, some of the lap traffic drifting, and there's Colin Fern immediately going to give it up as Adam Cabot gives the push to the 20, and Schildhouse will add another car one lap down, and this is going to be even worse for the 98 of Presley Sora, who has built a solid gap, but that gap may not be enough for the lead pack as they come back to turn 1.
That's going to put Joey Padgett a lap down after he got collected and some of that stuff getting on the pit road, I do believe. Cabot looks to the inside for the race lead. Max Kennan is there looking to help him down the back straightaway. Schildhouse is going to shut the door down the middle of the racetrack. He'll go to the bottom, and the top 4 remain single file downstairs.
And now I wonder here as well, Jacob, as they're going through the run, as Schildhouse drifts up the track, coming out of turn 4, looks like Padgett's going to have a run. Schildhouse looked to block for a moment, but he'll dodge in front of Adam Cabot in the 17, and they'll stay side by side for the moment. Again, this is not for the lead lap. This is Padgett trying to unlap himself, frankly, out of the racetrack back to turn 1. But I am wondering, though, Jacob, how important it is to save that right front. Normally at the intermediate tracks, even at some of the shorter tracks with some of the lower downforce cars, we talk about that a lot, how important it is to save that right front, make sure you are not understeering all the way up the banking into that outside wall. But based on many of the instances we've seen so far tonight, over the first 28 laps or so, it seems like that right front and taking care of it is going to be the most important thing. That's why everybody wants to be as low as on the racetrack as they could be, because they do not want to risk wearing that right front, pushing up the racetrack, and slamming into the wall, having that fate like a couple of others have had so far.
Well, we saw it there with 13 of Raja Carruth right before the pit stops opened. where he was running the high line coming through turns 3 and 4 and just didn't have the grip out of the right front. Got up into the outside wall, but he's okay now. Rajah Caruth currently sitting back in the 11th position, so he is doing just fine right now. Problem is he is 7 seconds back or so, make that almost 10 seconds back on the race leader. So he's lost a little bit of time. And up here at the front, you really have things shuffled around because you've got a lap car up here in the 51 of Corey Heim, as well as some others, Joey Padgett as well. Fourth place is Ryan Vargas. He's actually the 6th car in line right now with these 2 lap cars getting in the thick of it.
And there's also more lead lap cars in the mix as well. You look at 5th place James Bickford back there in the number 29 for Charlotte Phoenix. Bailey Turner is in the mix through as well. Chase Caber, your pole sitter tonight, the Floridian, is running P7. He's going to look under Bailey Turner this time out of turn 2. He's got help from Gabe Wood. They may catch with DJ Cummings and Anthony Alfredo, who are running 9th and 10th. But it looks like that gap a little too large to overcome for the moment. Might need a caution, might need a mistake, might need both if they want to catch up and have a little bit of a play in this fight for the current race lead. Corey Heim going to play an effect, though, because it's going to add a buffer, Jacob, between Cabot and David Schildhaus. Padgett and Heim trying to unlap themselves on the track. Here comes Padgett to the inside into turn 1. Here's a look from James Bickford running P5.
Schildhaus may be okay with this for now, but he can't get back to the bottom. Here comes that 51. Corey Heim drops downstairs. He's, remember, trying to get back on the lead lap. He just squeezes in front of Adam Cabot in that 17 machine to hold on to the lead. But now he's got a car in front of him that he can use his draft, try and save some fuel. Fuel mileage looks like it's going to be a concern. We're looking at 5 stops tonight, including the one that we just had, maybe even one more than that based on fuel. If they can only make it 22 laps, they're going to need to save some to make it to the end, in addition to stopping 4 more times. So the leader getting some draft. That's crucial right now for David Schildhaus. That means he's burning just a little bit less fuel. Connor Berry, by the way, he has parked the car. He is done for the night. An early exit for the rookie, Connor Berry.
Unfortunate for Connor Berry. Hopefully we'll see him next week with the ARCA cars at the Twin Ring Motegi circuit on the other side of the world, frankly, in Japan. In sim, tough for Berry, but hopefully we'll see him in just 1 week time. You are right, though. Schildhaus able to burn less fuel this time as he's in the draft, going roughly 225 miles an hour, going to the corner even more. Here's a look from Justin Melillo, still on that journey to lick the battery pack. If he can get to victory lane here in this Monday Night Racing Pro Series presented by Interstate Batteries. Melillo right now in the 53, running a little further down in the running order as we speak, roughly around the top 30, the top 29. He runs behind defending series champion Presley Sora in the number 98, and hopefully we can see him catch up to the field, and hopefully we'll see everybody pack in, because the one thing that I've noticed as well, a lack of cautions as Schildhaus just tank slapped the outside wall, and here comes Adam Cabot to the inside for the race lead.
Cabot with a huge run after Schildhaus got up into the outside wall, and it doesn't take much. Move the 17 into P1. David Schildhaus maybe going to try and save those tires just a little bit more. Move Adam Cabot to the front of the field. And you talked about that. Oh, man, I thought we had trouble right up the road there. I think it was the glare more than anything that got me a little screwed up there coming down the front straightaway. But you talked about the 53 of Justin Melillo. Yeah, 5 car lengths back on the race leaders. So they're going to get lapped in a hurry as the leaders are rocketing down this inside line.
And they continue to put drivers lap down after lap down. Looks like Corey Heim might be next. Almost contact between the 17 and the 51. The one thing you don't want to do, though, in lap traffic, Jacob, is get into the make contact and cause a yellow, because for some of the drivers, the lack of yellows have been a problem based on the note you've made about fuel conservation. But some drivers like the way the race has gone so far. They want it to stay clean. They want the field to be as spread out as they are, especially if you're in this lead pack. That's definitely going to be a lot. Looks like they're going to lap another car. This time it's going to be the 57 of Seth Eggert. So he's going to move out of the way, and he'll stay to the high side. He'll let everybody by on that single file train tucked up against that yellow line here from Talladega.
Oh, trouble! Oh, trouble! We got 2 cars in it. Seth Eggert's upside down. Bailey Turner is in it. Ron Katz barely snakes through. We've got a car stopped in the racing line with cars coming down the back straightaway. Seth Eggert is facing the wrong direction, and the caution flag is out. Seth Eggert just got too high coming through turn 2, got up into the outside wall, came back down. Bailey Turner had nowhere to go, and that 57 was up on its roof.
caution flag out for the first time tonight. Lap 35 from Talladega. And you are right, Jacob. Started with the 57 of Seth Egger. Was letting the whole field by. Drifted a little too far up into the outside wall. He went into Gabe Wood. And you're right, Bailey Turner absolutely nowhere he could go to avoid it. And finally, after 35 laps of green flag racing from Talladega, we have our first rest under the caution. There's a look again at the 57's incident with the 5. It was up on its side. Fortunately, lands on all fours. It looks like Egger may be able to bring that car back to pit road. It's going to be a limp, though, down to that 55-mile-per-hour pit road speed limit, as the field will get caught by the iRacing official pace car. And this will throw a wrench into the whole green flag strategy, Jacob, that we've been thinking about for the past while in tonight's Proceller8 300, because now the field can come down pit road and give themselves a little more insurance, just a little.
Right, so they've only gone about 14 laps since they came onto pit road to get fuel. So that's about 2/3 of the way through a full tank, give or take. So they're going to have, they're going to pit here, and they're going to be saving a lot of fuel here under this caution, I'm sure. So if you got about 36 laps complete out of 113, I'll do the math here and see what we get out of this. So minus 36, and you divide that by about 22, you're still looking at about 4 more stops at this point. I don't think you're going to be able to save enough fuel to make this only in 3 more stops. Time for pit stops, though. Everybody's coming to pit road.
And also think about the tire set limit that we have in this race, a total of 5, and you don't want to pit too many times to make sure that you wipe all those tires out. You definitely want to have tires on your side, especially if a late race restart happens here from Talladega. So far, it's been all clean and green until right now. Field on a pit road led by your race leader, Adam Cabot, in the 17. Him and Schildhaus are going at it for a while in the midst of lap traffic. There's your pole sitter, Chase Cabry, hopping up over the Jackson 17, and the 20 will fight for the lead out of pit road. And David Schildhaus going to win by just the nose, 13.8 seconds on the stop. Well, it looks like Cabot might have beat him actually on the line. Schildhaus might have a penalty.
We got a black flag for Robbie Lyons, that much I know, and Schildhaus is indeed going to the back. Oh.
A penalty for David Schildhaus as he just barely nosed ahead of Adam Cabot. That would have been. It looks like he'll have to adjust accordingly here. He'll let the whole field by. That should be just the end of the longest line. So Schildhaus going to have a lot of work to do once we get back to the green flag here for the virtual Talladega Super Speedway. Well, as we're under caution for the very first time tonight here in this Proceller8 300, we want to remind you that our coverage of the Proceller8 300 is brought to you by Pro. We've got more from the Monday Night Racing Pro Series Season 6 opener in the Proceller8 300 on Podium Esports.
Get the edge on your competition with
something we really hadn't described in our pre-race show. We had top four qualifiers enter into the race tonight. That was with Chase Cabry and the number 39, Joey Padgett, Connor Berry, and the 47 of Jordan Buster. We also had the 2 legacy drivers, Caps included in that, Lynn Roger Caruth, and then 5 by Promoter's Choice. And Caps is going to stay out on 16-lap old tires, I think, to lead the field back to green.
Wait,
or
what?
Actually, no, he was just given an end-of-line penalty.
But he's going the wrong way. If he got an end, he's the leader right now. He's being scored as the leader. So him getting an EOL penalty, where is he going? He's at turn 4. He's at doing 180 mile an hour.
He's trying to catch up to the field, I think.
Well, okay, so we've got a scoring issue outside of Caps because Colin Fern is arguing about waiver rounds right now. There were a lot of cars at the back of the field that stayed out, did not pit. The rule is NASCAR waiver rounds. So Colin Fern's saying, I was in front of the leader. All of us should get waved around. We're being told that that's not the case, so there is confusion on all sorts of fronts right now. Ron Capps is now slowed down. He's still doing 90. He's in turn 1. The pace car is doing 65. So he's going to have to slow down a lot more in order to let the field go by here. If he's supposed to be at the tail end of the field, he stayed out. He did not pit, but he is on the lead lap. He should be a race leader because he stayed out.
And things are definitely getting a little chaotic, and the lights have flickered back on the iRacing official pace car. We were about to get the 1 green signal, so we were going to go back to green. It looks like the lights are going to flicker off once again. Maybe the scoring has been reassured here by race control. Hopefully we can get this all situated before we get ourselves back to green flag racing, and it looks like with the whole Ron Cap scenario, Adam Cabot will inherit the lead. He did so out of pit road fighting against David Schildhaus because Schildhaus got the penalty, and then Cabot, I guess, had to adjust that he was going to be second. Now he has to adjust to being the leader. He'll have Max Kennan, it looks to be, in a P2, but they're all formed up in a weird line right now. There's Anthony Alfredo on the bottom, trying to look in between James Bigford and Kennan, the 29 and the 21. And I think they may have extended the caution again. Ron Capps is at a dead stop on the back straightaway.
Yeah, he is taking a nap back there. The field is now off of 2 down the back straightaway, so they're going to pass him. You're going to see the 56 Napa machine down here on the flat here in just a moment. As we got a couple of guys, it looks like, on pit road right now. Yeah, so they're going to, just a couple of guys, Olsen and Bell fans. There's the 56. They'll go by him. As we're still trying to sort this out, Brett Baldeck, George Balfans Jr., they both have black flags, not sure why.
So an interesting scenario. Looks like we're going to continue to extend the caution, and then we'll just try to situate things out as the lights are on. Once again, on the pace car, Adam Cabot, still your race leader here for the virtual Talladega Super Speedway. Well, tonight, we've had a lot of things to cover with our invocation, our national anthem, so many things, but we've also got an in-race reporter, and it's one of our new drivers in Season 6 of the Monday Night Racing Pro Series, Joey Sawachi. First of all, how have you felt about this race so far? COT's at Talladega. It's been a tough combo for many. How has it been for you behind the wheel?
Yeah, to be honest, it's been a little chaotic, kind of as expected. But I mean, honestly, I hit the wall coming out of 2 pretty early, and I lost the draft. And I mean, when you lose the draft at this place, it's you're pretty much out there by yourself. So I got to do a better job this time around of just staying with the pack and just try to stay in there until the end.
I know you've got a lot of experience on 2 wheels, this time on 4 with the Goodyear Eagles on this COT. I love the colors on this, and it's a Lamborghini Urus. Am I correct on that? Lamborghini Urus on a COT?
Yes, sir. Lamborghini powered COT.
Oh, wow. I think the first time I've ever seen Lamborghini on a NASCAR in my life. A beautiful scheme, though, but you are one of the many new drivers bearing the quote-unquote rookie stripes here in Monday Night Racing and this Pro Series presented by Interstate Batteries. So what are your expectations? And now that you've got a little bit of laps in with the entire field, and how you feel confidence-wise going into the entire season?
I mean, I think this one's a little bit of an anomaly, but overall, as the race goes on, I'm getting better. I'm understanding the draft. I haven't done a lot of drafting on this track with this car, so understanding how the car pulls me in coming into the corners when you're in the draft versus not has been the hardest thing. But since I've been in the draft a little bit, I'm kind of learning it, so it should be better this time around.
Quick question before we go back to green flag racing. You're restarting 10th. Any specific plans?
Yeah, stay with the pack and just try to hang on, hold on to the coattails, and ride until the end.
All right, sounds good, Joey. We appreciate you taking some time to talk with us. Best of luck on this next restart.
Thank you.
So that is our in-race reporter, Joey Sawachi, in the number 35. Well, he's listed as the number 35. I believe on the actual number sheet should be the number 69. But he's going to restart inside the top 10. And we again turn toward our front row, Adam Cabot and Max Kennan, the 17 and the 21. But one thing I also want to note, Jacob, is that Anthony Alfredo has finally moved his way to the front of the field. A similar sight to where he was with the next gens at Talladega just 1 season ago. A little damage there on the right rear, but the Dude Wipes number 33 Chevrolet is in the mix here at lap 40.
Yeah, he's right up here in the thick of it, and this will be really interesting to see how he's able to do, because in that first run, he was up toward the front and then started to fade back. Just the tires didn't quite have the grip that he thought they would. He got into the outside wall a time or two, and that kicked him back. And then after pit stops, he was just outside of that lead pack. So he's got himself back up into the thick of things now, and is going to try to have an impact up here at the front. But we'll see how this goes. This is the first time we've bunched the field back up. We've had 40 laps under our belts here. Some guys have some more confidence as to what to do, where to go on the racetrack. We'll have to see how this turns out.
And again, it's a long wait to that restart zone with the 17 of Adam Cabot at the helm of it all. Adam Cabot in the 17 will head into the Geico restart zone. He'll hop on the gas away from the rest of the field. Green flag back in the air. Lap 41 underway from Talladega.
Oh, We got trouble in the back of the field. Stephen Ellis is turned around. Brett Baldeck has nowhere to go. He piles in. Contact at the back of the field. Single car down on the apron. We are still green as the field gets up to speed. Contact in the back of the field. Stephen Ellis, the guy that's parked on the apron on the front straightaway.
Yeah, Eggert and Ellis got into it, both of them having some trouble. Eggert falling back through the field, and already a challenge and a change of the race lead. Max Kennan to the very front, bringing James Bickford looking to the inside for P2 on the racetrack. Chase Cabry in there as well. 4 cars at the helm of the field going at it back to turn 1.
Here comes Vargas looking to the inside for position number 4. I think with that contact, by the way, Eggert was trying to get out of the way, and unfortunately nowhere for him to go with that contact. Your top 5, single file. Vargas takes over 4th. Bickford slides back to 5th. Bailey Turner is in 6th. They're side by side for 7th. It's Will Rogers and Anthony Alfredo.
And look at them 3 wide around the latter half of the top 10. Gabe Wood looking to the inside. That's Rogers in the very middle. Presley Sora on the inside. Remember, Sora, Corey Heim, a bunch of those guys were at least a lap down or more by the time we had the end of our first long green flag run, and they're all back in it now. Corey Heim trying to give some help to Garrett Smithley in the 78, and all of them still challenging side by side for 9th on back.
There was more trouble in the back of the field, a single card spin. This was Ron Capps, hard hit into the inside wall, almost upside down. He's back at the speed, a lot of damage, off the pace in turns 3 and 4. You can see the smoke as the field comes off turn number 2.
Looks like Alfredo is struggling just a little bit. He's going to be under fire from both Gabe Wood and Presley Sora. Looks like he's fallen through, maybe just to save some of that right front, or maybe the aerodynamics not really working. Alfredo is going to drift up. He's going to get split through the middle, 3 wide. There goes Rogers, there goes Sora, there goes Wood, all around, and Alfredo drops back to P10.
Gotta wonder if maybe he's just saving the tires a little bit too much and lifting too much getting into the corner. You have to lift with these cars with how fast they go down the front straightaway. Alfredo doing 241 before he lifts for turn number 1. Wonder if he's just trying to save his stuff, so if we have another green flag run, he can claw his way through the field. But right now, that 33 is falling back and is in some big trouble as one car bounces it off the outside wall coming off turn number 2. That's Zach Osborne, the newcomer in the 30.
We'll see if that strategy is able to work for Alfredo, because if he continues to plummet down the running order, it's not going to help as the accordion back in. Alfredo taps the outside wall, drifting high up on the banking. That's Joey Sabache down low, able to take the position. And one car going into pit road, I believe that's Ron Capps in the 28. It is in his Napa Auto Parts machine. Of course, he clears the track. We will stay green. They're side by side for P4, though, at the helm of the field. Bailey Turner, Chase Cabry going at it. Here's the look from Presley Sora.
And now Sora is going to let Cabry in line right there, whether or not he wanted to. There was a hole. Cabry went for it, and he will hold on to that position for now. Sora's not done. He looks to the inside, trying to side draft, but he's just not close enough to that 39. We've got a nice little break in the pack here. Top 7, our single file. Will Rogers, couple car legs back in 8th, and he's got some help behind him in Corey Heim and Gabe Wood.
And you got to think, if you're the 98 of Presley Sora, you spent the majority of the race up front, then drifted all the way back with that mistake coming down the pit lane the first time through. So do you be aggressive here at this stage of the race to get very back to the front, or are you just going to hang this pack, wait for the dust to settle, and then try to take position away? It looks like the patience not really there for the La Mirada California native Ryan Vargas, bearing a new number and a new sponsor behind the wheel. Here's a look at Vargas on the right side of your screen. Focus as always the left side of the rear end of his Chevy Impala SS. Going to give the block to the Charlotte Phoenix driver James Bickford back into turn 3. First time we see Vargas at the front of the field tonight.
Oh, and with that block, that baby got loose getting into turn number 3, trying to hold on. Bickford in second. He's trying to hold on. Bickford to the inside. Again, Vargas throws the block. This time he can't get down in front. Now the 5 of Bailey Turner has to lift. He makes contact with Max Kennan from behind. They all sort it out. Vargas still out in front of this race. Now Adam Cabot slides down to the 3rd with the room. It's very early to be blocking like this. We're still not even halfway.
And remember, the 5 and the 17, Turner and Adam Cabot, they have worked together fluently over the past season or so. Both of them teammates, both of them have worked together so well on the racetrack. We talked about that ad nauseum in last season's edition of the Monday Night Racing Pro Series presented by Interstate Batteries. Almost about got collected in a wreck right there up about the top 5, and it has not been easy if you're anyone around this top 10. We mentioned the 7th place driver being the last one in a train of cars, but now they've brought in 8th, they've brought in 9th, they've brought in 10th. How about P11, P12, Chase Cabry, DJ Cummings? How about Joey Sabachi in the 13th place, being all up in this as well? So again, the accordion effect taking shape on this restart.
Well, and I think with the 26 of Ryan Vargas out in front, pulling a little bit of blocking, stacking everybody up, that's helped that second pack gain on the leaders. Just the fact that they're lifting even more, that's allowed this second group to come up in a hurry. We'll see if any of them try to make some moves toward the front of the field. Corey Heim got a little out of shape in line. He's in 5th, and that 7 of Will Rogers stuck high, wide, and handsome up on the outside. Gabe Wood on the inside. He'll take that spot away.
The Maui, Hawaii native Will Rogers trying to hold on the outside. We'll see if he can find some space between Gabe Wood and Chase Cabry. So far, 9th and 11th out of the racetrack. Rogers going to find the space. He'll duck in front of the 39. We'll stay single file for a moment. Never mind. Up at the front, Bailey Turner going at it with Corey Heim, now with Presley Sora. And one thing that I've noticed as well, Jacob, is that the outside, even if it's just the middle of the racetrack, has not been formidable at all. We really haven't seen anybody take a chance with bringing 2 or more cars up there. Now we've got 2 with Heim and the 5 of Bailey Turner. But apart from that, haven't seen anybody else go up there. Got to imagine that's got to be because of the worry of drifting too high and tapping the outside wall.
You may see it on fresh tires late in the race. Otherwise, I don't think it's going to happen, at least not right now. James Bickford, he wants to go to the lead right now. He wants that to happen. Problem is, Ryan Vargas going to slam the door shut going into turn number 1 once again. Top 5 or 6 remain single file. Bailey Turner and Will Rogers still getting shuffled down to the deck as Rogers pounds the outside wall coming off turn 2. Joey Savitsky gets down to the inside to avoid after he got the wall as well. Will Rogers with a lot of damage and off the pace trying to get that motor round back up. He falls back by 4 spots. He's now 14th.
And Savage now falls behind Garrett Smithley in the 78, who takes over the 12th running place position. And Vargas still trying to block on James Bickford. Here comes Adam Cabot to the inside for second.
Oh, how about 3 wide for second? Here comes the 83 of Joey Padgett. Padgett trying to make that bottom side work. Can't quite get it to hold down there, but here comes Cabot on the inside. The 29 up toward the outside wall. Gabe Wood has to get out of it. He hits the wall. Now Sora gets in the back of Bickford. He slides. Max Kennan has to lift. He loses half a dozen spots. The leaders keep it together down the back straightaway, but you just can't run that outside line. Now trouble. One car turned into the wall of Savitsky. Caution is out as he's up against the outside wall, trying to keep it up there as the field goes flying by.
Savage in reverse, drifting down the track, trying to make sure he can get away from harm's way, and caution flag out for the 2nd time tonight in this Proceller8 300. And we almost had roughly maybe 3 or 4 cautions, Jacob, prior to the incident with the 35. There's Savage still rolling through the banking. He'll come to a dead stop. And the caution out once again, it was Max Kennan in the 21 that got into the 35. You'll take a look at it. They all check up for what could have been a potential wreck. Sora getting into it as well. He drops back position, and then as Kennan comes flying through, taps the 35, and that's all she wrote.
Yeah, and this starts much further up. This starts coming off turn number 2. With Bickford running that outside line. He gets into the wall. He's got guys behind him in the outside that are able to keep it down there and off the wall, and they just can't check up in time. There you see the 29 gets the wall. That gets Sora. That gets Kennan. Gabe Wood gets out of the way. And now Max Kennan just trying to get the wheels back underneath him. He's staying up. He's staying up. Now he starts to come back down. And I just think he didn't realize that the 35 was down there, or he only realized it at the last second. And the contact's made, and that 35 is going around into the outside wall.
Again, proved my theory right, I think, about having too many cars up there and having the worry about hitting the outside wall if you drift up a little too far and if you experiment a little too much. And for James Bickford, I think he'll be able to escape roughly scot-free. He's got a bit of damage on the right and left side of his Impala SS. For Presley Soro, that's some heavy right front damage on his Shaq I-Gear Chevrolet as well. So we'll see how long it'll take them to assess all of it down pit road, because a lot of other tracks, especially the shorter ones, Jacob, we harp on the fact that you can take a beating, you can take a little damage and not have significant lost speed. But when you're going upwards of 235 miles an hour going into the corner, you need every bit of aerodynamic advantage as you can have. And there's the 98 of Presley Soro, that purple car, second in line behind your pole sitter Chase Cabry. He's going to have to take a little longer down the lane to assess some of that damage. It looks like Corey Heim took a 7.6 second stop, only fuel for the 51. He'll come out first. Jordan Buster staying out of the racetrack.
Yeah, and Garrett Smithley does the same thing. Fuel only, it looks like, here for the 51, I think. Let me just double check. Left sides for Corey Heim. Left sides, not right sides. Only lefts for the 51 of Corey Heim. As for Garrett Smithley, with him in his boxed fuel only for the 78. So those guys trying a little bit of strategy, a little bit of that toward the back of the field as well. Malillo, Shieldhouse, Josh Slate, Gary Sexton, all with 7-second pit stops. Really interesting to see the split that we've got here as far as tires, no tires, and 2 tires and 4 tires right now. I thought it'd be a little too early to be doing something like this, but apparently not.
Well, and also you look back to the tire sets we've had in this race, a total of 5. If you're pitting many times in this race, a lot of these guys making their 3rd or 4th pit stop in this race, you're going to want to save as much rubber as possible to have it secured for the end of the race, or at least for right now. Left sides, 2 tires, maybe no tires in some cases, might be the call to go with. Just because if you end up in that late race scenario, you want fresh rubber, you want to have it in tow. You do not want to be in a situation where you're so depleted on rubber that it's not going to assist you in trying to win the race. So Jordan Buster will stay out, Corey Heim second, Garrett Smithley in P3 as we continue our coverage of the Proceller8 300 from the virtual Talladega Super Speedway. Just a reminder that our coverage tonight on Podium Esports is brought to you by Interstate Batteries. Built to top industry standards, Interstate Batteries has been the technician's choice for 9 years and counting. Powered by a distributor network of 300 wholesale warehouses and backed up by more than 150,000 dealers around the world, as well as 200 All Battery Center franchise stores, Interstate seeks to deliver the most trustworthy source of power to the world every day. Interstate Batteries, outrageously dependable. Jordan Buster has just hit the pit lane in the number 47, one of the newer drivers in our field for Season 6 in the Monday Night Racing Pro Series presented by Interstate Batteries, a NASCAR Pinty Series spotter for Lane Zardo out of Toronto, Ontario, Canada. So Buster going to head down pit lane, going to lose all the track position, and it will be NASCAR Truck Series driver Corey Heim at the helm of the field for the first time tonight in this Proceller8 300. Corey Heim, by the way, Jacob, a huge factor in a lot of the super speedway races we've seen, most notably that ARCA race at the Legacy Daytona track. He had performed significantly well there and was able to work with a lot of the drivers and be very aggressive at the front. Now he's got the opportunity to control some of the tempo here at lap 54.
Well, and you talked about Buster coming onto pit road. Garrett Smithley also comes onto pit road after his fuel-only stop. He comes back down just to top off on fuel. And Corey Heim, you're right. He's been an interesting figure here in Monday Night Racing. Was involved in that late crash there at Daytona in the ARCA race here at MNR. With being in lap car in there, that wild finish that we had. We got the restart wrecked in turn number 1. Green right checkers weren't on, so the race ended. That was in the playoffs. You can't forget about that one.
No,
but Heim has been stupid fast everywhere we go. Last season when he would race, especially at the 1.5 miles, like when we go to Texas in a couple of weeks in the Xfinity cars, Corey Heim's going to clean up shop. You know, and that's just how good he is at the at the 1.5 here. But we'll have to wait and see how he does here. If he punches his ticket to the playoffs right here at Talladega and decides, you know what, I'm not going to wait till after Thanksgiving. I'm going to do it right here, right now, race 1.
And that's a big point as well. Last season, Corey Heim was only part-time. We pretty much joined the series late in the going, late in the campaign. Now he's got the opportunity to hit a full reset button and be able to fight for the Season 6 championship. Pace car going to make its way down pit road. Also got to give a congratulations for Corey Heim. He was named the 2022 NASCAR Camping World Truck Series Rookie of the Year after the ending of the season at Phoenix just this past weekend. So a huge congratulations to Heim and the crew for all of their work over the season. He's got Adam Cabot, though, on the outside of row number 1. They will enter the restart zone, and away we will go. Lap 54 counted down. Lap 55 underway from Talladega. Back under green, Corey Heim leading the field back to turn 1.
That outside line did not get a great jump after Adam Cabot. It was pretty bunched up on that outside. Padgett up top. He's got Chase Cabry right behind, the 5 of Bailey Turner, the 13 of Rajah Caruth. They now start to spread out as they hit the back straightaway. With these race cars at this racetrack, it takes about a full lap for them to get up to full song. Here comes Brian Vargas flying on the outside. He takes the lead. 3 wide for 4th. Corey Heim stuck in the middle, 3 wide. Cabry up top. DJ Cummings on the bottom.
Joey Paget, DJ Cummings making magic work inside 3 wide. Looks like Cummings will follow through to 4th. Paget moves to 3rd, and they will calm down for the race lead, but they are still going at it for 5th on back. Heim drops to P6. Chase Cabry in the mix as well. They're still side by side for position back to turn 1, but does Adam Cabot do anything to strike against Vargas out of turn 2? Here's a look on board from Schillhouse, running 13th in the midst of the pack as well.
And you can see just the chaos going on in front of the Schildhouse right now. A lot of side-by-side battles. He's got the 41, Matt Stolnick. Now here comes the 13 of Raja Karuth underneath the 98 of Presley Sora. He's got some damage on the right front of that thing. That's not up to full speed for that 98. And he's suffering right now. He's not in the draft. He's going to continue to lose a ton of time as Schildhouse, Alfredo get by. Here comes Steve Affont in the 11 right behind him.
And Steve Affont, I think the first time we've really seen him up at the front of the field, at least the top 15 is concerned. Ford Martin in the 07 to follow through as well. A lot of drivers in this Hornet's Nest, a lot of strong cars at that. Still haven't had quite the chance for some of them to be at the very front. They have tandem out a little bit 1st and 2nd as Joey Paget looks to gain all the draft on the Talladega super stretch. He's got help from DJ Cummings. He looks to
trouble. One car in the air, back straightaway. Zach Osborne. He got the outside wall coming off turn number 2, spun down the racetrack, hit the inside wall into the safer barrier. Space Force act from the 30 of Zach Osborne. He lands it on all 4 wheels, but a horrific crash for the 30 and a rough freshman debut for the rookie in the 30.
Well, look with Zach Osborne out of Abingdon, Virginia. And right there, just came out of turn 2. The car stepped out. It looks like no contact from anybody else. Just got the outside wall, similar to the fate that we've seen from a lot of drivers tonight. I think Joey Savagey also got a little bit of damage as well. And then a horrific crash for Zach Osborne going up end over end, and he immediately brings it to the garage. His race is over. Make that the 2nd rookie, I believe, in tonight's race to have big trouble, as the field will have a little bit of a time slowing down for the iRacing official pace car. Joey Paget hopping on the brakes a little late, but we're going to have everybody back together. And it looks like for the number 02 of Connor Berry, looks like for the 30 of Zach Osborne, they're going to have to look to next week in order to have some of the luck turn their way for the rookie drivers. And our caution out once again here, lap number 58 of 113. While we're under yellow again, we'll remind you that our coverage of the Proceller8 300 from the Talladega Super Speedway is brought to you by Next Level Racing. Next Level Racing is proud to partner with Monday Night Racing. Founded in 2009, Next Level Racing is the world's leading simulation brand, revolutionizing simulation racing with its industry-leading product range. Visit nextlevelracing.com for more information and to learn more today. All right, another reset here, Jacob. I'm not sure if this is going to be the trend here because we like to jinx things a lot in the booth. We're very bad with that. I know I'm very bad with that. Cautions are now starting to fly a little more frequently as Corey Heim makes his way down to pit road. So do we expect more carnage, or what are we expecting here?
I don't know. Well, a lot of these guys are just taking fuel only. Christian Eckes doing that. Corey Heim doing that. Some taking the advantage to take tires, but for the most part, they're just taking fuel only right now. And from the way it looks, this caution maybe perhaps should not have, accidentally been thrown. And, these things happen. I have a loud mouth. When you hear me yell trouble, oftentimes, sometimes you're just trained to hit the button. I get it. But in that case, single car. I just talked about it because I saw him go down, and when he hit the wall and shot up, that's when it's okay. Yeah, I need to say something just in case. At least acknowledge that he's up on his head, and we'll go from there. But I'm really interested to see how this is going to play out because this shuffles up the strategy just a little bit more here. And we'll see how this plays out as Zach Osborne has parked the car. He is done for the night.
You know what? It is justified, though, screaming trouble, because I have a terrible eye with a lot of that stuff, especially near the rear of the field. And I know Blake and I can agree on this. We get caught by your saying of trouble, and we know exactly you've got it nailed exactly who's in trouble. So I do thank you for all of that, because I don't think I can catch that. I'm terrible at looking at a lot of things in the rear of the field sometimes, just depending on the angles of the cameras. But A lot of the carnage, though, has been single file. We haven't had the big one strike from Talladega, which is a little strange, just considering the fact that usually every time you go to this track, you're always thinking about it. Hopefully it doesn't happen, as we are going to cross the line for lap 60 of 113, roughly with 54 laps to go, around the halfway mark here in this Proceller8 300 in the opening race of Season 6 for the Monday Night Racing Pro Series presented by Interstate Batteries. We'll knock down another read for you. We are presented as well on Podium Esports by Roasted Gems Coffee. At Roasted Gems Coffee Premium Coffee online store, you will find bold, rich, and unique coffee beans roasted per order, delivered fresh straight to your door in your mug at peak flavor. Enough of old coffee beans. Enjoy your precious coffee gems fresh, and you can visit roastedgems.com today to learn more. Now, it strikes me here, Jacob, as well. You look at your race lead and how it extends back to roughly around P6 or so. Ryan Vargas in the race lead. A new look here for the La Mirada, California native. He was previously with JD Motor Esports and with Charlotte Phoenix. And the 26, a new look here. Usually he's been rocking the 6. We saw a lot of that California-esque in-and-out truck with the duct tape 6 over it, but a new number now without any duct tape and a new sponsor, Critical Path Security, on board as well.
Yep, future unknown for Ryan Vargas right now after his run at Martinsville. He said that's the last race that they'll be doing behind the wheel of the number 6 at JD Motorsports. So we'll find out where he is headed for 2023 as time rolls along. But right now, in the 26 here in Monday Night Racing, and just trying to make a name for himself. He's got sponsorship for the full ride this season with Critical Path on the nose of the car for the entire season long, and he's hoping that, you know, he's going to find himself a seat at the table next year, and we wish him the best in that endeavor here through the offseason as we are extending the caution flag and the lights are back on the pace car.
Exciting. Race control is going to assess the situation, get everything in order before we get that green flag from Barney the Flagman. But I'm going to echo your sentiments there. Best of luck, of course, to Ryan Vargas. A great personality and a lot of fun watching him on the sim and even in real life out on the track. And the 26 machine, we'll be trying to get used to that over the course of the season. I've been so used to calling him the 6, but with the 26 here, hopefully we'll get used to it sooner than later. Adam Cabot running in second, Joey Padgett into P3. And what a run it's been for Joey Padgett tonight as a rookie driver. It looks like he has been one of the drivers to not be scared of the moment, or at least the moment here with the COTs at Talladega. One of the most aggressive drivers we've seen all night long, and Joey Padgett making the most out of his debut with a possible chance to win this thing if he stays up.
He's had a heck of a debut here today. A lot of these guys have. You know, Cabry there in 6th. And I know Barry and Osborne, they had some good runs going, and things have kind of fallen off since then. But we'll see what happens with these guys down the stretch. It'll be really interesting, especially if we can get back under the green flag and get another green flag run going. How this could play out as far as fuel strategy, because we've had a lot of caution laps as of late that should, in theory, help these guys save a little bit of gas to make it the distance.
It should be in, and we've roughly seen 25, 28 laps on a tank of fuel until they decide to come in for service. And it looks like this time by, we may have the lights out on the iRacing official pace car. Indeed we do. So we'll take one more trip around this Talladega Super Speedway before we go back to green with roughly 52 laps to go in this Proceller8 300, as Vargas will have the helm of the field behind him, or pretty much everyone behind him. He's at the helm of the field, and he'll be in control of the next restart. And we'll see how the leads will change, as things will get rather interesting here, because the aggressivity has turned up. The cautions have turned up as well, but Jacob, the aggressivity has turned up for the moment. I think we can tell maybe a little more comfortability. These guys are definitely willing to take more moves. Maybe I could be wrong if things end up going haywire from here on out, but for the moment it seems to be like this race is amping up. These guys understand we're in that last stretch before you can get to that checker flag. Still some time, but they know time is running out in some sort of sense, so they got to make the most of what they can if they want to make themselves known as a race winner in the season opener, much like Anthony Alfredo did in the Sunrise 500 just one season ago, and make that playoff ticket known at the first race. Be able to lift that weight off your shoulders going into the playoffs.
Well, and look, passing here is so difficult. We've seen it already. You go to the middle line, you're probably going to slide up and hit the outside wall and lose a bunch of spots. So you're either going to get by people with others making mistakes, or maybe off pit road if we get some green flag racing in here. So, you know, if you're toward the middle of the pack, if you're Colin Fern, you're 25th, I don't know what you're going to do, because you cannot pass with these things. You just get so tight in the middle of the racetrack. You go up the racetrack, you're hitting the outside wall, and you're losing a ton of spots. So it is very difficult to get to the front when you fall to the back of the pack. And if you have damage, man, good luck to you. I know Raja Karuth, he's got a bit of front end damage. So does the 98 of Presley Sora. That, you know, it's not going to stick out well in the draft. You're by yourself. In the draft is going to be your friend, but if you're leading a pack, forget it. You're going to fall back.
And track position at a premium here as we come into 52 laps to go. Again, Ryan Vargas, Adam Cabot at your front row, Joey Padgett, DJ Cummings in your second row, Max Kennan, Chase Cabry in your third, Bailey Turner, Max Stallneck, Gabe Wood, and Raja Karuth in the 13 to round out your top 10. Green flag back in the air.
Trouble!
Already trouble. There goes Chase Cabry down to the racetrack. It looks like we will stay green.
No, caution's out.
Towards the inside.
Caution's out.
Now the caution's out.
They saved it.
That was Chase Cabry and Bailey Turner going down the track on the tri-oval, and it might have started with Cabry getting into Max Kennan. And for the first time, Jacob, we see an issue with rear tire spin on a restart. The 21 of Kennan gets loose as he hops on the gas pedal, tries to anticipate the jump by Ryan Vargas, and then up into Chase Cabry he went. Cabry tried to keep the car under control, slid into Bailey Turner. Both of them go all the way down to the apron. Bailey Turner smacks the inside wall just a tad, and the caution flies to save them for now. But a little damage for them, and I think a change of the race lead. Actually, never mind. Ryan Vargas is going to take it back. Looks like Joey Padgett was just in the mix as well. But a little bit of chaos on the restart. A couple of them got caught up in it.
Yeah, and they're going to, you know, I think they're going to be all right here. But, you know, just coming down to the line and, you know, with them taking so long under pacing, you know, you've got cold tires. So if you're not ready when you get on the gas, you're in trouble.
Trying to get the field sorted. Ryan Vargas at the helm of the field with 52 laps to go. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back with more coverage of the Proceller8 300 and the opening race of Season 6 on the Monday Night Racing Pro Series presented by Interstate Batteries.
I ain't trying to bring you down, but for real, you might as well give up now. Think you got a chance, but I don't see how. Got a real tight grip when I hold that crown. My life been good and bad and all around. The more things I lost, the more I found. Everybody wanna be like us, we don't stop, cause the top just ain't enough. I'm the first one in and the last one out. Whoever owns the place gotta drag me out. Came here ready to fight on this night, you better just run for your life.
Get the edge on your competition with P8 Performance Gummies. Formulated specifically for gamers and the esports industry, we packed our gummies with all the good stuff, including ingredients that are clinically proven to help tired eyes, improve reaction times, and help suppress computer vision syndrome. Take your focus and endurance to the next level and try P8 gummies today. Now available at Proceller8.com. Plus, if you're mad about gaming, we're looking to partner with influencers just like you. Drop us a line at support at Proceller8.com to see if you qualify to try our gummies for free. It's officially game on with all new P8 gummies.
This is an Interstate battery. More pros trust this than any other out there. Yeah, more pros. More. Even more pros. Keep going. Moss. Look, we're gonna run out of time before we run out of pros who like Interstate. I mean, we'll run out of time before we even run out of left-handed pros who knit. These pros are everywhere, which means so is this battery. Right around the corner, up the street, everywhere. Interstate batteries, outrageously dependable.
visit our website at toughgoflooring.com.
Back live from the virtual Talladega Super Speedway. Welcome back to Podium Esports' coverage of the opener for Season 6 of the Monday Night Racing Pro Series presented by Interstate Batteries and our Proceller8 300. Still under caution here with roughly 51 laps to go. Kenneth Bueno, Jacob Hitz, along with you for the ride. Ryan Bauer producing all the shots you're seeing this evening. He's using cameras provided by Gary Sexton. And we got a couple of drivers on pit road. I believe Steve Alfon, a couple of others have come in. Correct me if I'm wrong there, but a couple of them are just taking some stops, maybe for some fuel. We are ready to line this thing back up, double file, with Ryan Vargas and Adam Cabot at the helm of the field. It's been a little chaotic in this second half, no doubt, Jacob, with the way things have turned, the way the tables have turned, really, and the fact that we had a green opening stint, roughly 35 laps, had our first caution. It feels like it set it off from there, and things have been a little rocky, but hopefully we can get a nice finish within 50 laps to go.
Just have to wait and see, and those guys that are just coming on pit road, just picking up some fuel. It's a little gas and go here before we get back under green, trying to top off, and we've clicked off a lot of laps here under pacing. We're past the halfway point right now. You've come into 49 to go on the restart, so you're looking at about maybe 2 more stops, maybe another for these guys up here at the front. Your top 11, top 12 haven't pitted in about 12 laps, so they may have to make another stop depending on the way cautions fly the rest of the race. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens here and see how far we can go, because these guys up here at the front on 12-lap-old tires, they're ice cubes right about now. They have not been able to put down pretty much any fast laps since they've gotten these new tires on. So it's going to be a wake-up call for these guys up here at the front. And again, watch for drivers spinning the tires like we saw on that last restart.
And it turns back to the incident with Max Kennan, just about to mention that, where you go so many laps under caution, you're not used to the tires, or the rear tires spinning as fast as they are, and you go on the green, you try to go 100% throttle, and then the car breaks loose, and you've got nothing to do but try and save it, and by then, the field will check up, and you'll have an instance maybe even worse than what we saw on that last restart. Ready for the green flag here with 49 laps to go from Talladega Superspeedway. Also want to know that one of our newer drivers, Natalie Decker, running 21st right now on the outside of the 10th row with Robbie Lyons on the inside. Natalie Decker, one of the batch of rookie drivers here in this Monday Night Racing Pro Series presented by Interstate Batteries. So good to see her running in the midst of the field. We'll see if she can pick up some spots in the next 49 laps or so. But for right now, it is California's own Ryan Vargas in P1, Adam Cabot into P2 on his outside, DJ Cummings, Joey Padgett behind them in row number 2. To the Geico restart zone they will go. Ryan Vargas on the gas, a little hiccup from that outside lane, but we are back under green, 49 to go from Talladega.
Great restart from Raja Karuth, and he goes up the middle, pushes Matt Stolnick out of the way, and here comes Raja. He enters the top 6 up on that outside line. He is flying, a great restart. Here he comes on the outside, looking to get by Max Kennan, headed down the back straightaway.
And usually we see Raja Karuth be one of the most potent drivers on these super speedways in this league. Here's a look on board with the number 13 machine. He's going to give assistance to the Ford Fusion to DJ Cummings. How about David Shieldhouse? Anthony Alfredo back in the mix behind this number 13. Side by side for third, and 2 wide, couple of rows deep around the top 10.
They come back down the front straightaway. Joey Padgett taking that 3rd spot away from Cummings. Got Max Kennan right there in 5th, side by side, further back, Anthony Alfredo and David Shieldhouse wheel to wheel, headed back to turn number 1. Here comes Kennan underneath DJ Cummings as he tries to go around the outside of the 83 of Joey Padgett.
And I'm noticing a lot of the changes in position, a lot of the momentum switches have come from the entrance into the corner.
Oh, we got trouble! Trouble! Garrett's, oh, that's Preston Pardis into the outside wall. He collects James Bickford coming off turn number 2, and the caution flag is out. They eventually straightened it out, but that 42 got up and into the air down the back straightaway. Bickford and Preston Pardis making contact and sending them both around.
P-Money involved in it. Same deal for one of the Championship 4 drivers from 1 season ago, James Bickford, getting caught up in the mix. Here's a look at exactly what happened. And it's the same case, Jacob, that we've seen all night long. You drift a little too high on the racetrack. Either you're going to hit the outside wall or somebody on top of you. And for Preston, it was hitting James Bickford. Both of them get collected. Preston goes for a ride up in the air. The rear end goes. Here's a look from Chase Cabry, a little further behind the action. Fortunately, able to save it. Both of them are. But the caution flag still waves in precaution. This is like a Cabry, and around they go.
Oh, and pinching a little early, I think they're getting into coming up off the corner. Give the guy on the bottom just a little bit of room to slide up. Not a lot, but just enough. And I think that's what led to that contact there that kicked those two cars sideways and up into the outside wall.
And it immediately reminds me of a car that Blake McCandless knows very well. One of our commentators here in the booth, that we'll have him next week. Unfortunately, he's not with us here tonight for the season opener. He was at Phoenix Raceway for NASCAR Championship weekend, wishing him safe travels back home, and we'll have him 1 week from tonight with the ARCA cars at Twin Ring Motegi. But you kind of have to drive this car a little bit like you do that 87, and like you mentioned, Jacob, giving space for drivers to slide up on the racetrack, because you're going to have that happen with how fast you're going. And there's contact there between drivers going in and out of pit road. Joey Padgett gets turned, and the field spreads around him. Presley Sora going underneath. Anthony Alfredo going to miss the pit lane as well. And some drama for your race leaders, including Joey Padgett coming onto the pit lane.
Wow. That's, my goodness. When you think you've seen it all, it's Max Kennan and Padgett that make the contact. 83 all the way down. And decides last second, you know what, I'm staying out. Cuts across 3 lanes. And nowhere for the 21 of Max Kennan to go. Wow.
And it looked like it was going to be surely a trip to pit road for Padgett. He was already underneath that yellow line for longer than anyone else. Even the leaders who did pit, for Vargas and Cabot, for DJ Cummings, and then Padgett just goes up the track into Max Kennan. Fortunately, he is going to pick up a spot, or pick up his spots that were supposedly going to be lost. He's back up to first. David Schildhouse, Anthony Alfredo, Presley Sora among those staying out, but it looks like Sora and Alfredo might have just been forced to stay out, just with all of the chaos that happened with Padgett there in the 83. And I was about to say that would have been a huge hit for Padgett as a rookie driver running up front all race long, having to lose some track position, but now he's going to have the case of old tires on his side, or rather against him, if that weapon is going to prosper against him this time. But we'll just have to see, as a lot of the leaders came in.
He's going to the back. He's going to the back. Padgett's being sent to the back of the field for that.
And there it is, track position completely lost for the 83 of Joey Padgett. There he is coming to a crawl. Schildhouse, Alfredo, and the rest of the field will follow through by. We'll try to get this all situated. Everybody, though, who had pitted, all of them are roughly 11th on back, starting with Vargas. He did win the race off pit road. Cabot is second in line in 12th place. DJ Cummings in 13th. Roger Caruth in 14th. Gary Sexton to outline the top 5 coming out of pit road in the 15th running position. So a lot of guys staying out. And this call may either work completely if more cautions fly, or it may just be the detriment to all these guys who are taking this risk with 46 laps to go for the virtual Talladega Super Speedway. Under caution again, we will remind you that our coverage of the Monday Night Racing Pro Series presented by Interstate Batteries is brought to you by Tufco Flooring. Tufco Flooring is an industrial flooring company specializing in custom floors and drains. Tufco doesn't believe in the one-size-fits-all approach, and neither should you. Tufco listens to your needs and requirements and develops custom solutions for every client. For more information and to learn more, visit their website at tufcoflooring.com. Man, this has been a barn burner from Dega. And now, Jacob, I really question this call. A lot of it forced, again, on the likes of Sora and Alfredo. I don't think they were even planning to stay out. It's just a situation Joey Padgett forced them out there. Now they're going to have to deal with 17-lap-old tires for all of them. For Corey Heim, it seems to be on a different path. He's on 11-lap-old tires. Same deal for the 15 of Christian Eggers, Will Rogers, and a couple of others, but a lot of them still on relatively older tires. And the guys on back, Ryan Vargas, starting in P9 on the restart. So it's going to be a little chaotic on how this exactly is all going to play out. But the fresh tire cars may find their way to the front. We may have our first huge split tonight.
Well, and you got to keep in mind that these guys that are on these 17-lap-old tires, they've had the time to save the fuel, but they're still going to have to pit, I think, in the next 10 laps for fuel. I know we've had a lot of caution laps, but before they were only able to make it about 22 laps on a full tank. So, you know, I'm giving them at least 5 more laps, depending on how much that they are saving under the caution flag, and we'll just have to wait and see how right or wrong that I am here in the grand scheme of things. But we'll see what this top 8 can do here. Top 7 that are on some older tires. You got Ford Martin. He hasn't pitted in 17 laps. Sora, Alfredo, Schildhouse, and then Heim, Will Rogers, Christian Eckes, that are on 11-lap old tires, and Chase Cabry, who's on 7-lap old tire.
Also got a lot of splits in the teams. Usually at these super speedways, going to see a lot of teammates work together. Hasn't been the case tonight, just with how the racing is played out with these COTs. As the top 5 outlined by David Schildhouse, who will have the lead when we get back to green. Anthony Alfredo will be second. Corey Heim will be third. Presley Sora will be fourth. Will Rogers lining up the top 5. And how about Christian Eckes? Started all the way back in 36th, and he is up to your top 6 here at Talladega. A NASCAR Truck Series driver making his debut in the Monday Night Racing Pro Series presented by Interstate Batteries. Pace car makes its way down to the entrance of pit road. The long wait to the Geico restart zone comes through, but it will be David Schildhouse at the front with Anthony Alfredo to join him alongside Anthony Alfredo, the defending winner here at Talladega. Green flag out, even restart between both lanes.
A great jump on that outside. Alfredo's going to beat him at the line here. He might have a shot to get to him down in turn number 1. They're going to stay side by side. There was a little bit of contact further in the back of the field, but we're still green. Case Kallenbach got hit by Max Kennan and put up into the wall, but we're still green. Schildhouse with the lead off 2.
And they're 3 wide. Adam Cabot and Chase Cabry made a move down the middle. Now they're going to be 3 wide again. Corey Heim almost with no help. Presley Sora help from the 15 of Eckes. Side by side for second. Almost side by side for the lead. Here comes Alfredo at the exit of turn 4.
Flying up on that outside line. We have yet to really see that outside line work today, but it's working right now for Anthony Alfredo. Corey Heim looks to the bottom. He can't make it work. 3 wide down there. They're side by side coming to the line. Alfredo leads that lap at the line. We've got 42 laps to go.
The first time we really see more than 2 cars on that middle lane making it work, and Anthony Alfredo dashes to the front, takes the lead away, and Schildhouse will have to fight for second with Chase Cabry. How about 3 wide? Corey Heim down low.
Here they are, 3 wide for that 3rd position. Here comes Cabry. He goes to the bottom. Rajat Caruth gets into Sora. Sora gets turned around. The field checks up. Eckes goes around. Ford Martin gets in the back of Ryan Vargas. He's in the outside wall. 5, 6, 7 cars pile in turn number 3. Cautions out. Natalie Decker's in it. The 7 of Will Rogers. Joe Savagey is in it. Christian Eckes, as I mentioned. You've got more trouble in there as well with the 86 of Colin Fern coming to a dead stop. Joshua Slate has big damage on the front end of the 01. It's the biggest one we've had so far in the middle of 3 and 4.
That may just be the big one from Talladega, and it all started with Presley Sora and Raja Caruth getting together in the entrance of the corner. And we'll take a look at how it all started. Raja Caruth was running on the outside, by the way, of Christian Eckes when they started that lap, and then found a way to the inside as they were going for turn 3. Here's a look at the 13. There's a look at Sora. A big run from Caruth, and didn't ignore it, and then got into the side of Presley Sora. They both made contact. Around Christian Eckes goes, around Will Rogers goes, and then they pack it up near the rear of the field as well.
You just can't stop. Decker got run over. Who's that gray car? Is that Kennan cutting through the grass? Somebody just came flying in there and could not stop. Got into Decker, got into a couple of more there in turn 3. And it's so hard with these race cars when you're going so fast. You can't stop on a dime like in these next-gen cars. And that's the risk that these guys go through. That's Nick Olson that actually he got some help, it looked like. Got a push in the back from Savagey. And then the 04 got Olson back there in Decker, just trying to squeeze through. Ran out of room and actually ping-ponged off of George Belfans Jr. as well. So you've got probably a dozen cars that got a piece of that one way or another in that mess.
And it looks like one of the cars dashing through the grass might have been Garrett Smithley, who almost had a piece of that one, but is on board. Definitely sweet as he was able to get around all of that. The car is chasing for the grass, and this is the biggest crash we've seen so far tonight in this Proceller8 300. Again, you're wondering about the big one here at Talladega. That might have just been it with 41 laps to go. And that will hand the lead over to Chase Cabry in the 39. Had a huge one coming out of turn 2, made good use of it, and was able to get in front of Anthony Alfredo. Adam Cabot falls to 3rd in all of that. We'll see if we can try to get a look at Garrett Smithley's onboard here in the midst of it. Not necessarily in the dead middle of the crash, but he is around it at some point, and his front nose camera can show us a lot of the story and how it played out. Here's a look from Smithley going into the corner. already lifting, just seeing the chaos unfold. Right there is where the smoke comes out. They start to pack it up. Smithley goes for the apron, and oh, pretty close.
Just barely. Yeah.
Man, the brown pants, I'm not sure if they're there for Smithley. They're there for me, and I wasn't even driving the car. But for Smithley, able to get away from all of that, and with the avoidance, he will be P20. He did actually come down pit road, so a little lost track position on that instance there. He's going to be alongside Colin Fern, I believe, once we get back to the green flag from Talladega. So into our final 40 laps. But I also want to note, Jacob, that this is going to help the likes of Anthony Alfredo, the likes of David Schildhaus, the likes of Corey Heim, even Gary Sexton, Ford Martin, all of those guys who have stayed out. Now they're getting caution flag after caution flag, which means they're not spending as much time under green. They're not spending as much time full throttle and lifting off the gas. They're able to save some fuel, and that may help extend things just a little bit, make a money pit stop potentially in the next 40 laps or so.
Just have to wait and see, because right now, if you pit and we do not get a caution the rest of the way, it's a one-stopper, and you'll be able to make it to the end. Now, we're going to get more cautions, obviously, but Anthony Alfredo, Schildhaus, and Ford Martin still have yet to pit. It's been more than 20 laps. So my guess is within the next 5 to 10, they're going to have to stop because they're going to be out of fuel. It's not going to be because of the tires. So we'll have to see how these guys kind of play this strategy game right now, because I thought that this last time would have been the time to come onto pit road. You would have been able to save enough under this caution that even if we did go green the rest of the way, you would have been fine as far as fuel is concerned. So really interested to see how this is going to pan out. And then you got guys that just stopped either under this caution, like Garrett Smithley and Eckes in the back, or guys toward the front of the field, like Bickford, Gabe Wood, Bailey Turner, that stopped under the last caution flag. And something else you have to keep in mind at this point, faster pairs. A couple of guys have already used them here. Gary Sexton, he's in 7th. Bailey Turner back in 11th. Bickford is 14th. Heim, Smithley, Eckes, they're all outside the top 20. Robbie Lyons, Melillo, they've all used theirs. Let's see, Charlie Brown has used his. Robbie Lyons, Brett Baldeck, Joey Savitke has used his. Stephen Ellis has used his at this point. So out of the guys that are running, that's about it. Everybody else still has it in their back pocket, and I'm sure don't want to use it if they don't have to. But if you have damage, you may want to start thinking about using it here within these next couple of laps.
That is true, of course. We talked about the importance of aerodynamics here at Talladega, specifically with these cars. You're going so fast, you're going to need all of the aerodynamics, and if you have a bit of damage, even that is going to affect you a bit. And we've seen it already prosper throughout this race in this Proceller8 300, just how much the damage can do to you negatively in the middle of the pack. The draft can help sort of mediate that effect, but it won't necessarily save you by any stretch of the imagination. It's been a problem, and that fast repair may be a little tasty to those guys who have a little bit of damage and may want to have that fixed and probably don't want to spend all that time repairing it on the pit lane. The 39 of Chase Cabre, the 33 of Anthony Alfredo will be the first two to see the green flag, a restart with 39 laps to go. With the pace car down and away into pit road, David Schildhaus, Adam Cabot rolling off in row number 2, 3rd and 4th. Ryan Vargas in your top 5, and Roger Carruth, who had sprinted his way through the field on that last restart, now on the inside. He runs in P6. Into the restart zone, Chase Cabre will go. A checkup from the outside, a bit of contact between Schildhaus and Alfredo, but Chase Cabre will lead the field back to turn 1 with 39 laps to go.
And Ryan Vargas dropped the hammer. He got down into the bottom. Corey Heim is on the apron. They are 4 wide in turn number 1 as Heim trying to get back up onto the racetrack. Josh Balicki in the thick of that. So is Colin Fern and Joey Padgett. Heim loses 3-4 spots, but he's back onto the racing surface as they come down the back straightaway. You've got Chase Cabre out in front trying to hold off Adam Cabot. Side by side for 3rd, Alfredo and Rajah Carruth.
They'll settle it out near the rear of the field, or at least the Hornet's Nest. Alfredo will move up to 3rd. Adam Cabot going to hound on the rear end of that 39. Can Alfredo build a run with help from the 13? Carruth is not going to assist him, at least for now. 4-car breakaway back to turn 1.
Ryan Vargas trying to take over that 5th position. Here comes Cabot for the lead down at the bottom. Cabri can't hold the bottom of the racetrack. Move that 17 into position number 1. Alfredo takes 2nd. Here comes Raja Karuth for 3rd, coming off turn number 2. And now here comes Schildhaus as they're fanning out onto the apron way behind.
One car on the outside wall, that's Steve Alfon in the 11. He keeps it clean, the field does as well. Will stay green with 38 laps to go. Adam Cabot gonna give way to the new race leader, Cabri, and Caruth still going at it a turn 4. Actually, that's Schildhaus as well behind the 13 of Caruth. Cabot gonna stay behind the 33. And the tandem will work for now, but how long will it last? Vargas versus Sexton for P6.
Anthony Alfredo, so familiar with the front of the field here at Talladega. It worked to his perfection at the plate races a season ago here in MNR. Won the season opener at Daytona, came back to Talladega and had a great run as well going to victory lane. Now he's trying to hold off the season 4 champion Adam Cabot. A strong running Raja Karuth in 3rd, Schildhaus 4th. It's the stack up from 5th on back. DJ Cummings almost gets into Gary Sexton and has to back out of it.
And notice that little bit of contact there. Fortunately, they save it for Cummings, though. He will drop to roughly P9, or maybe even worse if he gets swarmed there on the inside. That's his Crypto Autosport teammate in the mix as well. League owner Ford Martin, Matt Stolnick in the mix as well, Bailey Turner, all trying to fight for the last couple of spots in the top 10, while Anthony Alfredo leads the charge with 36 laps to go out of turn 2. And if Alfredo can get this win tonight from Talladega Superspeedway, it will be a consecutive opening race win for the number 33 of Alfredo. Got the Sunrise 500 win earlier last season, and he will tie Shane Van Gisbergen for 2nd all-time on the win list if he can get it done. Still a lot of time to go, and here comes Chase Cabri looking underneath David Schildhaus for 4th.
I thought maybe Cabri had just fallen back a little bit too much, but he's racing Schildhaus, who's on the even older tires, and so far that 39 still has some speed, even with the damage to the left side of that machine. He will take that position away. Gary Sexton waiting in the wings. They're bunching up behind him. Ryan Vargas got damage on the back end. He's on the outside. DJ Cummings is downstairs. Natalie Decker has parked the car. They're side by side. We got trouble. Steve Afon's headed for the inside wall. He takes a hard shot to the inside safer barrier. He keeps it pointed straight down on the apron. We stay green. They're almost 4 wide in turn 3. They are 4 wide in turn 3.
And they're almost second it up. Got one
caution
around, and caution flag is out. Presley Sora, Preston Pardis involved in the chaos, and the field will slow down.
Oh, look out, Balicki. Man, Josh Balicki involved in that as well. That's where the contact was between Balicki and Presley Sora. And then Pardis got in to do it late. Right around the 20th position is where that contact all started. And Sora, man, he has had a rough night, the defending series champion. He's had a rough go at it here from Talladega. Here's the replay. Watch that purple car. Balicki's there on the bottom. And it's like Balicki can't hold the bottom, washes up. Contact's made, around they go. And then there's Sora coming down into Preston Pardis. A hard hit to the outside wall for P-Money.
And Sora's been the bearer of bad luck tonight, especially as of late. Looked like at the opening jump of the race he was going to be one of the strongest, if not the strongest car on the field, and now it has turned for the worst. You'll take a look at it once more, this time from Preston Pardis' perspective out of the P-Money camp. And this is further behind the wreck. This is behind Justin Malillo in the 53. Right there, they make contact. Pardis tries to avoid, and there's absolutely nothing you can do, especially Jacob going that fast. It's so hard to swerve out of the way, and then gets another hit to the outside wall. And that's just a tough break for Pardis.
Who was that just snuck by Pardis as he came back up onto the outside of the racetrack? Wow! Man, I mean, you want to talk about Code Brown? That's bad right there. I don't know how he missed that. I think that's Jordan Buster.
Balfans, is it?
You're right, it is Balfans. I got stuck on the wrong car, yeah. I don't know how Balfans made it through that. That's incredible.
Unbelievable. It happened right in front of him, too. And he's able to escape it. There's Anthony Alfredo and a majority of your leaders on pit road. But look at this. Adam Cabot, Ryan Vargas going to stay out of the racetrack.
And so does Bailey Turner and Matt Stolnick and Garrett Smithley. Those guys had pitted, 4 of them 14 laps ago. Smithley pitted 9 laps ago. Now everybody else on pit road, and it's mostly fuel only. As Corey Heim wins the race off pit road, Rajah Caruth second. Cabri's going to take tires and lose a ton of time. Alfredo takes tires. Steve Afont takes tires. Now, of course, he pitted. Remember, he crashed right before the caution flag came out as part of a separate deal. Gary Sexton, DJ Cummings taking tires. So is Colin Fern, Gabe Wood, and some others toward the back of the field coming off pit road. But a lot of fuel-only calls for those that were up at the front of the field, like Christian Eckes, Justin Malillo, Raja Karuth, and Corey Heim.
And again, we are not even really that close. We're close a little bit, but not as close as we could be to that fuel window where, let's say, if you come down, you may be clear to the end of the race. It's a little risky this time, and for all those guys who are staying out first through fifth, their risk is going to be here at the forefront. So take a look on board with George Balfans Jr. in the 94. He was at the rear end of this as well. This is behind Preston Pardis in the 42. And Balfans has a nice front row seat to the action as they're coming to turn 3 and 4. That's where the problems will arise. Obviously, 100% full throttle in the midst of the draft. And then right around, possibly here, is where you'll see the carnage begin. Right about there, they stack up. They go to the outside wall. Hops on the brakes. And Balfans is through.
Sometimes you'd rather be lucky than good.
No, for sure, especially in Talladega. Yep. Pardis going loose in front of him and going straight to the outside wall. Balfans doing a beautiful job of hopping on the brakes and avoiding all of that and just keeping the wheels steady. And with that maneuver, Balfans Jr. bumps up to P16 on the racetrack behind DJ Cummings. As we'll look back to the front, all of them behind the iRacing official pace car, and it's Adam Cabot and Ryan Vargas at the head of the field. So we're under caution here with 33 laps to go. I think, Jacob, it's about time for us to sort of marinate a little more in what we're going to see for Season 6 of this Monday Night Racing Pro Series presented by Interstate Batteries, because my oh my, there are so many different types of combos that are so exciting and very different from many others that we've seen in the past.
Well, Daytona's easy because it's pretty hard to get a caution at a road course. Same thing with CTMP, although that one you could get a little track blocky there coming out of turn 10. Indianapolis in the IndyCars, I think, is going to be real fun. That's going to be a lot of strategy. It's going to be tough to pass, and I can't wait to see how that's going to shake out. We know how Texas is going to roll. We saw it was very clean last year, or last season. I think that'll be more of the same this time around. Twin Ring Motegi's a little bit of an outlier for me. I'm not quite sure how it's going to go with the ARCA cars. It could be fun. It could be a wreck fest. Auto Club with the 87s is always a good time. And then we're back here at Talladega, just like that, to set the final grid, the final 12. We'll fight for the Monday Night Racing presented by Interstate Batteries Championship. That's in 2023 when we have that race, and then Super Lates at Richmond. I think that's going to be a great time. ARCA cars at Daytona. I hope, it doesn't say that there, but I hope it's Daytona 07 again, because that was a fantastic show a season ago. Then we go to Watkins Glen with the Porsche 911s, and I think that's going to be really fun. At Watkins Glen. We have not been there. Last time we were there was a season ago in the Stadium Super Trucks. I'm really looking forward to getting some actual cars, if you will, over at Watkins Glen, especially with the boot. That's going to be an interesting challenge for these guys, especially since that's right around or right after what I believe the iRacing 24-hour at Daytona is going to be. So just in case you weren't sick of road courses enough, you get to do it again here in Monday Night Racing. And then we set round of 8. The next gen's at Pocono, my home racetrack. I love it. Then we go to Chicagoland with the truck. Chicagoland had a banger of a race in Season 4 before we go to Homestead and wrap things up with the Xfinity Series right before we head to the high banks of Daytona for the Daytona 500.
And speaking of Season 4 combos, last time we raced that Porsche 911 RSR was in Season 4, January 10th, but it was at the Red Bull Ring. So it's been a little while since the field has gotten their hands on a Porsche 911 in this MNR field. So a lot of excitement for Season 6, and it's only continuing to build in this last leg of the Proceller8 300 from Talladega. Pace car is down. Adam Cabot, Ryan Vargas this time. I think switcheroo in row number 1. Cabot will have control of the field. He'll have teammate Bailey Turner right behind him in row number 2. Matt Stonick in the 41. I think the highest we've seen him in tonight's field. In the outside of that second row, they're going to hiccup just a bit. They're going to swerve up to block. Green flag back in the air with 31 to go.
A rotten, horrible, no good restart for Matt Stolnick, and that is stacked up the outside line and everybody behind him. You've got Corey Heim up by the outside wall. Gary Sexton has a big run. He's come into the picture now. Ryan Vargas squeezes out in front of that 41. They are side by side for second. down the back straightaway. It's all the 17 of Adam Cabot, but he's got company in the rearview mirror. Here comes Vargas on the outside.
This may be the most packed in we've seen the field so far here from Dega. The intensity already picking up. Vargas still on the outside of Adam Cabot for the lead. No help for either of those patrons. Bailey Turner going to get a huge shot from Garrett Smithley. Stolnak potentially look for 3 wide, and we are still door-to-door for the lead to the trial wall.
Here, Raja Karu thought about making it 3 wide down there with Garrett Smithley. He thinks better of it. He stays in line, 4th in line on the bottom side of the racetrack. Adam Cabot continues to lead the field coming off turn number 2, side by side for second. You've got Ryan Vargas up on the outside, Bailey Turner downstairs. They continue to fan out. Here comes this 41, Matt Stolnik. He's going to go up the middle with some help. Shuffles Ryan Vargas out of the picture. Smithley gets pushed onto the flat there, 3 wide and accordion together in turn number 3.
And Caruth is going to get put in the middle, 3 wide. Vargas is going to hit the outside wall. They'll go 4 wide for a moment. Vargas in no man's land at a turn 4 all by himself. Christian Eck is going to slide into P6, and they're going to be side by side for P4. Stolnik and Chase Cabry, or rather that's Stolnik and Garrett Smithley. Chase Cabry behind them, still door to door, multiple rows deep as Cabot holds the field for now.
Nobody's been able to get a run close enough to the 17 without everybody else eating their young in the background. 3 wide down the back straightaway. Here comes Anthony Alfredo with the head of steam. Moves Ekis out of the way. He's on the back door. The 41 of Matt Stolnik headed to turn number 3. They want to go somewhere. Now Stolnik goes up the racetrack. Raja Karuth hits the wall behind him, loses a couple of spots, keeps it going. Anthony Alfredo, the only man on the outside of the racetrack, coming off turn number 4. Now help from Shieldhouse.
Vargas and Caruth looked like the men to beat there as they were coming through the field, now in trouble as Chase Cabry's going to slide. He'll hit the outside wall. There were 3 wide and a stack up there with Bailey Turner in P2. How about a challenge for the lead in turn 2? Alfredo to the outside of Cabot.
David Shieldhouse pushed that 33 all the way to the door of the 17. Now he goes back to the outside to push that 33 once again. Not a clean bump. Here comes Bailey Turner. He's got help from Colin Fern. He's entered the top 5 for the first time all day. He's hungry. He wants a win. He moves Turner out of the way as Alfredo takes the lead in turn 4.
Fern started 26th when we dropped the green flag on pit road. And look at him here with a chance to win. That's Gary Sexton tapping the outside wall. He's going to let the whole field by. And for the moment, it's a 5-car breakaway with Colin Fern going at it with Chase Cabry for 5th, or for 4th rather, 5th on back in a battle. Garrett Smithley and Bailey Turner. And for Anthony Alfredo, he's going to hold strong at the helm of the field. And him and Shieldhouse have worked together fluently over the course of last season. And even before that, working well together in 1st and 2nd. Here comes Cabry with a shot to the rear end of Fern to give him some momentum.
The top 2 worked together so much last season. We saw it late in the going, especially in the playoffs. Both of them helping themselves move on. We saw it at the Daytona Road Course. We saw them at Daytona 2007 as well. They dominate the top 2, but here comes Adam Cabot. He's got a push from Colin Fern. They get to the back door of the 20, but they can't do anything yet. Going to need to garner a bit more of a run as things have strung out single file here at the front of the field.
Yeah, but you have to wonder as well, Jacob, whether it's going to accordion back again. We've seen that phenomenon happen multiple times over. When we get a restart, the field spreads out. We get a couple of breakaways, but then we get the field back in action, all packed in together. Colin Fern is not going to wait any longer. He'll try to look underneath Adam Cabot for 3rd. He'll have help from the 39 at Chase Cabry. How about Garrett Smithley to help as well? All on the inside. Cabot with no space. He'll try to file out behind the number 39. And in between the 78, he'll be able to do so. And Alfredo will keep his place at the front of the field. No moves yet made. 25 laps to go.
Here comes Colin Fern. He's on the inside of David Shieldhouse. That 86 has a rocket strapped to the back spoiler of that number 86 Chevrolet. He takes 2nd away all by himself. Cabry to help push him by for 2nd. He wants the lead down the back straightaway.
He'll look forward, he'll move up high, he'll swerve down low, and to the inside, he'll pick a nose. Colin Fern to the inside with Chase Cabry to help. Into turn 3, Fern will wiggle the race car just a bit. Alfredo holds strong in the top. We're door to door for the lead, coming at 24 laps to go.
Man, that thing got loose trying to keep it down on the bottom. Gotta love those worn tires, even though Fern pitted just 9 laps ago. He slides up, almost gets into Alfredo. Alfredo leads the lap as Cabry tries to push that 86 by. Shieldhouse is there to save the day for the 33 of Alfredo. Alfredo back in front by 2 car lengths, and now Colin Fern has to try it all again off turn 2.
And they're all coming back in it. Bailey Turner going to fall back, but look at Joey Padgett moving his way back to the top 10. Remember, he was in a wreck earlier on in tonight's event. Here comes Fern back to the inside in turn 3 with help from the 39. But one thing I've noticed, Jacob, about that 33, he is so strong in the middle, able to keep composure there despite the strength in numbers down low. He's going to have help from David Schildhouse. 23 laps to go this time by, and we are still dead even for the race lead.
Schildhouse and Alfredo have that outside line rolling. It doesn't matter how many cars are lined up on the bottom. They just cannot get out in front of that 33 and clear Anthony Alfredo. Alfredo back out in front by 2 car lengths. Colin Fern second. Side by side for third between the 39 of Cabri and the 20 of David Schildhouse. Adam Cabot sits in the 5th spot. He's going to get behind the 39 and push him. Colin Fern stays right tucked up to the back bumper of the 33 headed to turn 3.
It looks like Fern can't quite make a move. Again, you pointed it earlier in tonight's race, Jacob, just how hard it is to pass with these COTs at Talladega, especially rolling with the pinch that far down the track with Alfredo keeping serve. Now Fern is going to switch things up. He'll find space at the top. They'll stack up for third on back. We'll see if Chase Cabri tries anything new. He will almost for a moment. Look 3 wide into turn 1, backed out of it, and Colin Fern at the top of the banking looking to keep Anthony Alfredo at bay.
If you can pass on the outside of the racetrack, that might be the move in the trial. Well, Colin Fern led that lap by cutting to the outside, coming off turn number 4, side drafting just a touch, and getting out in front of that 33. That may be the move that puts a driver in victory lane tonight. Coming to 21 laps to go this time by, Alfredo holds the bottom with the help from Cabri. That 86 doesn't quite get the help from David Schildhouse that he was given to the 33 a couple of laps ago.
Alfredo was trying to block both lanes, but will it work for long? He keeps in front of the 86, but can Chase Cabri make anything happen right now? It looks like he can. He'll move to the inside. Help from David Schildhouse in the 20. How about side by side, even in the 3rd row? Cabot and Gabe Wood going at it for the entrance into the top 5. Joey Padgett making a move in. Here comes Schildhouse 3 wide in the middle for the lead.
He got loose, had a run, came to the bottom, and Adam Cabot's there to pick up the door. He pushes him by. Cabri loses 5, 6 spots going into turn number 3. Colin Fern hits the wall. Gabe Wood hits the wall. They'll lose half a dozen spots and now they'll crash. Gabe Wood piles in. He whipsaws around. Will Rogers upside down, tumbling down the front straightaway. Corey Hahn got a piece of it as well. A horrible crash coming off turn number 4, and Will Rogers tumbles half a dozen times coming off turn 4 in a big crash.
And caution flag waves with 20 laps to go in the Proceller8 300. And here's a look at how it all started. Fern and Wood collectively hitting the outside wall, but Wood was the farthest to travel down low, got into Christian Eckes. And look at Rogers going end over end at a turn 4. There's a couple more drivers involved. It looks like DJ Cummings picked up some damage. And that, for sure, I believe, will take Gabe Wood out of this race. He does have a fast repair, so it may not be completely over, but the track position may not be on his side with little time left.
Rogers is done. He's already used his fast repair, and that thing's in a pile. Here's the onboard with Ryan Vargas here. He had a heck of a save through this, trying to slow down in time. Here he comes through 3 and 4. And here they are. They're all wrecking here. And all right, where's it going to go? He's on the brakes, trying to slow down. Got guys just kind of dodging all over the place. He said that he was full 90 degrees. Is Vargas just making crap up, or is he talking before? He may be talking for the wreck.
Well, he's
might
got some
be talking before the wreck. Well, he's had that damage for a bit, but if you notice, he was way far behind the wreck. So I wonder if he lost the draft because of something that happened that we did not catch live. Either way, pit stops, and it is a very busy place. Everybody wants tires because you pit here, you can make it to the end on fuel.
And this is the magic number here if you pit now. Again, this is going to be the golden ticket to that checkered flag. I'm still trying to figure out exactly what happened with Vargas. But we'll keep an eye on that. We'll monitor if we find anything there. But there are the leaders on at pit road. Alfredo had done such a beautiful job of keeping the field behind him despite the pressure. And we'll see if he can hold this lead coming out of pit road. Quite possibly the quintessential stop in tonight's race. They are door to door for the lead out of pit road. And guess who it is to win it? Gary Sexton in the 23, 8-second stop.
And oh man, that is huge from Gary Sexton.
Wow.
Right at the buzzer. Just right side tires for the 23, and he barely beats the 33 coming off of pit road. It's Colin Fern. Oh, Colin Fern has huge damage. And he made contact with Presley Sora. Sora missed his box again. He's sitting in the middle of the pit lane. And Colin Fern had nowhere to go, ran square into the back of him. Huge damage to the front end of the 86 of Colin Fern. Well, not championship implications, but race implications on board with the 86. You're already past it here. Here it comes. He'll come off out of his box. Now watch the car right in front, over by the white lines. And he just misses it. And nowhere for the 86 to go.
Too.
Yep, he just passed it and maybe wanted to get out of the way to try and back up to his box. But by that point, he's stopping in the line, and there's nowhere for Colin Fern to go, and he let him have it over the radio.
And also got a bit of rear end damage. That was given to him by Josh Balicki, who was on the left side of Fern's car by the time they were coming out of pit road, roughly around the same time. And they just all stacked up, and Balicki had nowhere to go, couldn't react in time. And so extra damage dealt to the 86 of Colin Fern, who looked like had a rocket ship, like you said, Jacob, in that last run or so, then hit the outside wall. That's when the caution waved. Fortunately for Fern, though, track position not completely lost by any stretch of the imagination. He's going to restart inside the top 10 alongside James Bickford, who has had an up and down race in his number 29 machine. But I think Fern is going to pit an extra time. He will, so pitting from 10th. Colin Fern going to make another stop, and we may figure, Jacob, it's for fast repair.
We'll have to wait and see. He still has his fast repair, so he'll pull into the box, and we'll see what he decides to do here. If it magically fixes itself, that is the fast repair. If he's just going to take the damage here and work on it, of course, he's probably going to add fuel to it. But it looks like he's just going to have the damage fixed by itself and not use the fast repair here in this case, because he's not taking tires. He's just taking fuel, and he just took fuel, so he doesn't need to be in the box for that long. So Colin Fern's going to try and get this damage fixed. If it's a lot of damage, though, it's a double-edged sword. Yeah, he saves his fast repair, but if it's too much damage, he's going to be in the box for too long and won't get back to the back of the field before the restart. The lights are out of the pace car. We're half a lap away from green. Colin Fern, though, is rolling now. Just left the pit lane, and that front end looks beat up still. So does the back end, but it looks a little bit better than it did when he came down onto pit road. So we'll see how that plays out here. In the draft, he'll be okay. By himself, I think that's where he's going to have the issue.
And we've pointed out many times over the past couple of seasons in M&R just how crucial saving that fast repair is. And even with 18 laps to go, that's still way more than enough time for Fern to get a fast repair if he needs it. Maybe he doesn't, but we'll just see, as he will fall all the way back through the field. It looks like he will restart somewhere around the top 25 or so. It looks like, actually, no, even further back, 34th on the grid, near the tail end of the field. But it's Gary Sexton on the opposite end of that with an 8-second stop, looking to hold on with right side tires on his COT, which is a Toyota Supra, by the way, with Supra decals. We don't see that often, but because you can customize as much as you want with the COT on iRacing, it's been around for a long time. You can put whatever decals you want on it. We saw it with our in-race reporter, Joey Savicci, with a Lamborghini Urus. There's Brett Baldick with a Supra, and there's Gary Sexton with one as well. But he's also got some right front damage, and that may prove a factor into how much speed he can carry as a leader of a line. And we'll see if Shieldhouse and company do anything about it to get away from Sexton and potentially take this race home with 18 laps remaining in this Proceller8 300 from the Talladega Super Speedway. Sexton, Alfredo, wait for the Geico restart zone. And the green flag is out. 17 remaining from Dega. Alfredo and Sexton even to the start-finish line.
Now remember, Alfredo did not, Gary Sexton did not take tires there, so his tire is going to be a little bit older. Or took 2 tires, rather, so his tire is still going to be older than the 33 of Anthony Alfredo, who took 4 tires. So that'll be interesting to see how this plays out. Somebody on the older tires, like the 23 of Sexton, he is struggling down on the bottom of the racetrack right now. Alfredo tries to shut the door, but the 23's there. Here comes David Shieldhouse, 3 wide for the lead in turn number 3.
Shieldhouse was having none of it, went for it all by himself, and he makes it work. Adam Cabot to the inside as well. He'll make it 3 wide. They'll settle through. Alfredo shuffles in second on the outside lane, and Shieldhouse is going to look to control the tempo. Cabot with a crossover. They make contact. Alfredo sideways, up in the air. James Bickford driver, Joey Paget, involved as well. Sexton sideways, multiple others involved. Caution flag out with 16 laps to go.
That was ugly. And that was just chopping the nose right there. The 23, Gary Sexton, I think. Well, hell no, he just lost the car. I don't know if it was the 17 crossing down on his nose, took the air off, but that thing just stopped turning in the middle of the corner, the middle of the tri-oval. You'll see here coming down through, 17 comes down the racetrack, and that 23 just goes straight up into the 33. Balicki nowhere to go, and a wild flip for Anthony Alfredo. Hopefully that doesn't remind him of that Kansas wreck that he had back in 2020. That is a horrific flip for Anthony Alfredo down the front straightaway, and that thing is doing the crab walk. He's going to need to use his fast repair.
Tough hit for the Ridgefield, Connecticut native. Here's a look on board from Sexton. Just gets boxed in right there as Cabot tried to make a move down low under your leader. And there's a look at Sexton getting hit once, twice, and spinning the inside. He gets an extra hit as well. That looks to be from Jordan Buster in the 47.
Yep.
And then there's Alfredo. His car absolutely crab walking at the aftermath of that. That is definitely a fast repair to be used. And just an unfortunate situation for both of those drivers, frankly, Jacob. Sexton looking to hold out on his risky call. Alfredo, one of the strongest cars as of late. Here's a look from Justin Malillo on the rear end of this crash.
He has the right call. Thank God this is all paved now. Long ago, it wasn't. Mark Martin found it out the hard way back in 1994, 93, when he went flying down toward the infield, almost got to where the fans were at down there. But it's all paved down there now, and Alfredo's able to slip through, get by all that trouble.
So that will reset the running order, and your race leader going to be David Schildhouse with that gutsy move in the middle, 3 wide. Schildhouse looking for what would be his 6th win in his M&R career. His last one came at the season finale just a couple of months ago at Homestead in Miami. Dominated the last leg of that race and was able to take the crown. And frankly, we didn't talk about David Schildhouse all too much, Jacob. We did interview him at the Carolina Esports Hub. He was there racing in a rig, but we didn't really shine the spotlight on him all too much just because, you know, we had the championship battle on the line. We had such a stunning finish between Anthony Alfredo and Presley Sora that we didn't really talk too much about the implications for Schildhouse, but one of the most confident drivers in Monday Night Racing out of all, and he's been in contention for multiple championships on end and looking to start the season the way he left it off in Season 5. A win would be huge for Schildhouse.
Yeah, that's a forgotten fact that David Schildhouse missed the championship 4 and then won the ending race on the season. That was huge for David Schildhouse, and it brought him a lot of momentum going into this season. Even if he has become the resident Mark Martin, you know, short, older than a lot of the guys in the field, and man, oh man, does he get so close to winning the championship but can't quite pull it off. That's David Schildhouse right now, and you know, this win would be huge if he could hold on here, get himself into the playoffs, but he's got to be consistent down the stretch in order to have a shot to make it to the championship 4 and give him a shot to go for his first Monday Night Racing title. He's been close these last couple of years. If this is the year, he has to be consistent throughout. Cannot have a bad race from now to Homestead.
Schildhouse looking to become, I think, the tying for 3rd on the all-time win list if he can get this tonight. And we are joined by David Schildhouse, your race leader. First of all, just walk us through that move. Middle 3 wide for the lead. What was going through your mind there?
What was going through my mind? Get back to the front. That's what's going through my mind. That's it. That's where I want to be all race. That's where I spent a lot of this race earlier on. Yeah, told my right foot, don't you move, don't you come up, don't lift, and it worked out for us. We're getting down to the closing stage of this thing. It's been fun. We've had our challenges. There's no doubt about that, and I hope y'all have been enjoying yourselves as much as possible up there. But let me tell you, this Habana Brisa Chevy Impala has been a blast to drive. We've kept her up front. We've kept her clean. I battled back from a speeding penalty. It's Monday Night Racing, baby, Season 6. We're back.
And you've got a lot of experience, David, at these super speedways. I know you got the Legacy Daytona win from late last season. I know you're fresh off the momentum, the win at Homestead in Miami to close off Season 5. So you're ready to go back for it here in this Proceller8 300. How much would this win mean to you to get a checkered flag in the first race of the season and immediately lock that ticket into the playoffs?
It'd be big. I was thinking about that just this afternoon. Because, yeah, I've never done that. You know, I would love to punch my ticket already, and then it's all pressure off, and then I can just really put the screws to these guys and really just go for wins and everything I can just to make their lives as miserable as possible for the next however many weeks until we get to the playoffs. That's all I'm here for. Like I said earlier on Twitter, I'm here to win races, break hearts, and become a champion of this league. Whatever that takes, I'm going to do it. Right now, we're in the right position. You know how these things go, Kenneth. We're not even close to being done yet. The real race is just starting.
Trying to mirror the start of Season 4 with a win in the opening race of the campaign. David, we'll let you go. I know there's a lot on the line here with 14 laps to go, so we'll let you get settled. Best of luck out there.
All right, keep an eye on the 20 car. We're keeping her up front, or I'll go flipping through a catch fence. They just extended the caution, so there's that. Well, so what's this race look like to you? I'm going to flip this thing around. How's it been for you guys?
Interviewing the interviewer, that's definitely a new one. But I mean, it's been a while, Jacob. I know we can attest it's been a little crazy. It's been insane to see the aggression pick up, though, as of late. It seemed in the beginning it was very calm. A lot of guys were a little careful. Now you see what David Schildhouse literally just did on that last run, going in the middle 3 wide. These guys are willing to go all out for the win.
It's tough to pass now. It was tough to pass then, but guys are more willing to go for the pass, I think, now, just because they don't really have a choice. And we're seeing a lot of aggression turned up, and hopefully some things get ironed out as the season goes on, and we limit the caution laps. But we'll
they're giving Anthony his lap back, by the way, because the game glitched him and it shot him into the sky and put him back in his pit box. They gave him his laps back because of the glitch. So there's some news for you. Just broke it.
But I thought he towed. Maybe not.
Well, he was going to tow,
he was
and then he got wrecked. Yeah, he got intent wrecked by Will Rogers because Will was mad.
Oh!
Yeah. Spicy.
Well, bring out the bells. We got beef. Yeah, we did not catch that. I saw somebody say something about Rogers and Alfredo, and I completely missed it. Let me. You're going to have to rewind a good bit here, but.
Wow. Anthony's car was just broke, and he barely grazed him or something, and Will got mad. So he just junked him, and so that's why I think we delayed it.
Yeah. Oh, man.
I think this is, sometimes broadcasters really
how does
have
that
a lot of
work?
information, but
No. This defied physics, folks. I might have to radio style this, but okay, they're coming off turn 2. Alfredo's crab walking on the apron. Will Rogers comes up behind him. Will Rogers turns the 33 of Anthony Alfredo. Alfredo bounces off of Corey Heim, who's just on the outside of the 33. Alfredo does a 90-degree turn, so he's facing the inside wall, and poof, he's gone. He disappears. He's just flung like a booger off the nose of the 7 of Will Rogers over the infield wall, and he landed next to somebody's camper. Wow.
Tough developments there for Alfredo, who will pick his laps back, but he will be basically at the end of the field. So all of what he had gained over this entire race is all for naught right now, and the time is only going to get shorter with 12 laps to go when we get this restart. So with that extended caution, we go an extra lap, give a chance for some of the guys to save some fuel perhaps, and we'll get the restart with 12 laps left at Talladega Super Speedway. David Schildhouse at the front of the field, Adam Cabot to follow in second, Chase Cabry in third, Garrett Smithley in P4, Max Kennan, Ford Martin, Matt Stallneck around your top 7, George Balfans Jr., Bailey Turner, and Preston Pardis capping off the rest of your top 10. It's been a wild race from Dega. We'll see if we can finish this one under green, and it'll be that colorful Hibana Brisa number 20 in control as they will crawl to the Geico restart zone. And we'll see how even the restart is. Past couple of times, it's been remarkably close between inside and outside. Into the restart zone they go. Schildhouse hops on the gas. A more convincing start from the inside. Green flag in the air from Dega once more.
Great launch from Schildhouse. Cabot fits right in line. Cabry, and Smithley all fit in line. Double wide, 5th on back. Matt Stallneck leading the outside line. Max Kennan leading the inside line as they make their way off turn number 2, door to door for 5th on back. People are yelling all over the radio, but it's all cleaned up here at the front. Ford Martin trying to get into the picture as well.
Yeah, a lot of new drivers making their faces known here in the latter half of this race. Matt Stolnick, Ford Martin, there's a look on board with the 07, started back in P30, and here he is with a shot at the top 10, maybe even a race win. Max Kennan has suffered some heavy damage. You could see it on that right side.
Trouble in the tri-oval. Bailey Turner turned hard into the outside wall. Preston Pardis on his nose. Now Justin Malillo gets turned down there the front straightaway. Contact with Joshua Slate. We've got multiple cars crashing here at the start-finish line. Charlie Brown piles in late, and it was contact between Bailey Turner that caused this whole incident down the front straightaway. Bailey Turner, Preston Pardis. It started Rajah Caruth getting a piece of it as well. He was part of the initial contact. Eckes in it as well. Holy cow, Pardis took a whale of a ride.
And he got grabbed by the grass as well, just caught it as he was going sideways and absolutely way shifted, landed on all fours, but then got hit again by Christian Eckes, Charlie Brown in the mix late. And here's a look from the 58 machine of Brown. Haven't talked about him all too much tonight, but unfortunately he ends up in this crash coming out of turn 4 into the tri-oval. And you're right, Jacob, just talking about Max Kennan, the amount of damage he had suffered and the run that he was putting together, and then just make slight contact with Pardis. There's a look at Pardis down low, going end over end, and then Brown, another hard hit. And that adds into a multi-car pileup, probably the biggest, if we're not tied tonight, for the biggest crash we've seen.
Well, and Bailey Turner's junk. He's crab walking in turn 3 right now. He has already used his fast repair, so he's out of the race for sure. Charlie Brown has already used his. He's probably toast. Let's see. Christian Eckes, I know he got a piece of that. And Eckes, where is he? He's, what, 35 today? Something weird like that. I can't find it. There he is. He's already used his fast repair. He's got a good bit of damage to the front end of that number 15 machine. So a lot of the guys involved in this latest accident already have used their fast repair and are pretty much stuck with the damage that they have the rest of the way.
And that's going to be huge for them, they have to keep it clean for the next 10 or so laps. And we've seen in this last half how crazy it's gone and how more risky the moves have been. The contact has been a little more frequent, and it's been tough for everybody to even keep their car remotely clean here tonight from Talladega. And it only continues to get worse, and the attrition starting to really become an effect here on the rest of the field. Bailey Turner was putting up such a great run, and he is still crab walking at the top of the banking, trying to gain some positions, or at least gain some of them back due to race control. And we are just going to continue to remain on the race car or pace car and see exactly how the field will handle this. And another restart with underneath 10 laps to go. David Schildhouse in control. Can he hold it much longer into the final laps here of this Proceller8 8 300 for the opening race in the Monday Night Racing Pro Series, presented by Interstate Batteries in Season 6. Don't go anywhere. We've got more on the other side on Podium Esports.
Get the edge on your competition with P8 Performance Gummies. Formulated specifically for gamers and the esports industry, we packed our gummies with all the good stuff, including ingredients that are clinically proven to help tired eyes, improve reaction times, and help suppress computer vision syndrome. Take your focus and endurance to the next level and try P8 Gummies today. Now available at Proceller8.com. Plus, if you're mad about gaming, we're looking to partner with influencers just like you. Drop us a line at support at Proceller8.com to see if you qualify to try our gummies for free. It's officially game on with all new P8 gummies.
This is an Interstate battery. More pros trust this than any other out there. Yeah, more pros. More. Even more pros. Keep going. Moss. Look, we're gonna run out of time before we run out of pros who like Interstate. I mean, we'll run out of time before we even run out of left-handed pros who knit. These pros are everywhere, which means so is this battery. Right around the corner, up the street, everywhere. Interstate batteries, outrageously dependable.
I ain't trying to bring you down, but for real, you might as well give up now. Think you got a chance, but I don't see how. Got a real tight grip when I hold that crown. My life been good and bad and all around. The more things I lost, the more I found. Everybody wanna be like us, we don't stop, cause the top just ain't enough. I'm the first one in and the last one out. Whoever owns the place gotta drag me out. Came here ready to fight on this night, you better just run for your life. Run for your life. Run for your life.
Eight laps is all we'll have to settle it here in the last stage of the Proceller8 300, our opening race of Season 6 in this Monday Night Racing Pro Series presented by Interstate Batteries and our live coverage right here on Podium Esports. Jacob Hitz, Kenneth Bunham along with you for the ride. Ryan Bauer producing all the shots you're seeing tonight. He's using cameras provided by Gary Sexton. Ready for a restart? With David Schildhaus and Adam Cabot at the front of the field, Chase Cabry and Garrett Smithley third and fourth. It'll be fifth for Matt Stolnick, George Belfans Jr. in P6, seventh for Ford Martin, eighth for Gabe Wood, ninth for Steve Alfont, and a top 10 right now lining up for the Crypto Autosport driver in the 10 of DJ Cummings. Just went fresh off of one of our biggest crashes all night long. Preston Pardis, Charlie Brown among those involved. And we're ready for a restart. We'll see if we can close this race from Talladega under the green flag. Pace car makes its way down. Schildhaus going to be on control at his discretion. As he will hop on the gas pedal, they'll enter the restart zone. The 20 will launch off in front of the 17. Back under green. 8 laps to go from Talladega.
Preston Pardis has parked the car after that last wreck, but we've got plenty more out here to tear up and or fight for a race win. David Schildhaus leads. Cabry is in second, side by side for third. Cabot on the outside, Smithley on the bottom. He's got help from George Belfans Jr. Gives Smithley that third spot as they continue to make their way up to speed down the back straightaway. Belfans side by side for fourth. Here comes Stolnick, he's in sixth.
A bit of blocking there near the rear. Looks like the Crypto Autosport teammates will work together. Stolnick, a previous winner at Daytona with the Xfinity cars in Season 3. He knows what it's like to be at the front at the Super Speedway races, currently running in P6. And look at Presley Sora. Jacob Hitz, you just noted it to me. He's running P8 right now. He got a faster car. He was involved in many crashes tonight, and yet the 18-year-old is still fighting with 7 to go.
He was so far behind the field, and here he is now in the thick of it, trying to get his first win on the season and lock himself in to the playoffs. But he's got a lot of guys to pass and not a lot of time to get there. Chase Cabry tries to block Garrett Smithley below the yellow line. Here comes Smithley. He says, I don't think so. He wants second. He rips it away from Cabry going into turn number 3.
Schildhaus was there in time to make the block. Cabry all by himself at the top of the racetrack. Will he find any help? For now, the answer is no. Bit of lap traffic up the road coming out of the tri-oval, but Schildhaus will lead the field with 6 laps to go. They should
trouble. Steve Alfont's up in the catch fence on the front straightaway. A huge crash on the front straightaway coming out of the tri-oval. Colin Fern, the other car involved. Colin Fern made contact with the 01 of Josh Slate that sent him up into Steve Alfont. Both cars wind up on their head, and Steve Alfont winds up in the catch fence just past the Geico restart zone, and we're back under the caution flag with 6 laps to go.
Holy moly. Slate moving up the track. There were 3 wide. Fern tried to dash through the middle, and then Slate just moves up the track. They make slight contact, and Steve Alfont, the victim in all of this, absolutely nothing he could do. He was just letting everybody by down low. You see him there at the top of the screen. On the right side, Fern makes contact with Slate, and then Alfont goes for a wild ride, ripping the fence, and the caution flag immediately gets thrown with 6 laps to go.
so. We're pretty much in the window here for a natural green and white checker or something close to it. And now, because of where the caution came out, they've had to try and catch the pace car. Initially, it was telling these guys to, oh my gosh, it was telling them to wait for the pace car. The pace car's at turn 4, and now they're being told they have to go catch the pace car, so they have to go drive an entire lap to go get to the pace car. I have a feeling we're going to get a natural green and white checker or a green and white checker here, because it's going to take them a bit here to catch up.
Yeah, it looks like we may just end up in that green-white checkered territory, not natural at least. Well, the way it's going to settle out, and I think with race control, what they may have to do to get everybody back in order, we've seen that happen a couple of times tonight. Props, though, to them for being as composed as they've been all night long and doing their hardest job to get everything in order to make sure all things are fair between the field. And there's a look at Chillhouse all by his lonesome. He'll try to catch up to the pace car. George Balfans Jr. and Garrett Smithley were going at it for second and third. It's been a beautiful move up to the field for George Balfans Jr. in his sophomore season in Monday Night Racing. The first time he made an appearance in this series was last season in the Sunrise 500. And for Balfans, he's had some ups, he's had some downs, and looking to turn the luck his direction. And if he could get a win, that would mean huge things for the 94 Jacob Hitz. Not only because it would be his first win in his M&R career, but it would also be one that would lock him into the playoffs and would give him an opportunity that he did not have in his rookie campaign by a long shot.
Balfans was one of the guys that came from the Road to Glory series that we had during Season 4. Presley Soar was another one of those. And you got to remember that he made the playoffs last year, but struggled in that first round. I believe he had to miss the last race of that round, and he just didn't have a shot at it at that point and moving on. So got kicked out of the playoffs for the rest of the season. Still had a couple of good runs down the stretch. And this year, I think he's just looking for a shot to get back into the playoffs and try and redeem himself from a season ago. He's had a fast car all of last season and all of this season. He just has to keep that thing clean for the remainder of this race. Try and go to victory lane for the first time this season in that 94.
And remember how close he was to the win in the Sunrise 500 one season ago. He finished in the top 3. So there was something to be said about the 94, how good he is at these super speedways. And Balfans Jr. with the opportunity to take a checkered flag, but he's got to beat David Chillhouse and Garrett Smithley before he can get there. It looks like we may just end up in a situation where we will end this race under a natural green-white checkered. I think we may just have to extend it at least one more lap to get our first of what will be our 3 attempts at a green and white checkered. So it'll work exactly like this. We'll get our restart with 2 laps to go. If we are in GWC territory, we'll try to get back to the checkered flag under green. If the caution comes out before the leader gets the white flag, we'll rack them up and do it all over again. If the leader does take the white flag, though, the race will be official. They will race it back to the line, and that will be your winner for the opening race in this Proceller8 300. Chillhouse looking for his 6th M&R career victory. Garrett Smithley looking to grab another. It would be his 4th. So he would topple over many of the names in the series like Kyle Busch, Adam Cabot, Colin Fern. And he would tie himself with Raja Carruth with 4 wins on his career. George Balfans Jr. will be win number 1. For Cabot, it'll be win number 4 as well. And then to look at all the other names in the back. Chase Cabrey in the 39. It'll be his 1st. Matt Stolneck. It will be his 3rd. DJ Cummings. I believe it'll be his 2nd. Or it'll be his 3rd, actually. And then a lot of other drivers in the mix as well. Presley Sorrell looking for another win. And there's a lot of opportunity with 3 laps to go. Jacob, I'm not sure how we're going to even try to settle this. I'm not sure how things are even going to go with the way things have panned out the past maybe 35 laps or so. We're going to have a restart within 2. That means that everything, any caution that you've ever had if you're a driver is going to get thrown out the window.
I'll be honest. I think they make it to the white flag here. I really do. Just be, you know, if they're going to wreck, they're going to do it in turn 3. But I have a feeling they're going to make it to the white. And then they get to the white flag, and all hell's going to break loose. It may be 2 guys duking it out for the win on the last lap. But I tell you what, it's going to make for one heck of a show coming down the stretch, whether it's David Chillhouse or somebody else out of the pack that's coming to the line. We're just going to have to wait and see. But how about, can we talk about Anthony Alfredo? He's 13th right now. He sat in the box for 4 minutes with that toe, took the faster pair, riding on board with him there. Gabe Wood to his outside. He's going to restart 13th, and he has a shot to go back-to-back in season-opening Monday Night Racing races and go to victory lane and lock himself in once again to the playoffs. We'll have to see what he can do here on this restart. He's got 12 guys to get by, including really 2 of his buddies in Shieldhouse and Garrett Smithley, 1 and 2.
Yeah, Smithley and Shieldhouse going to be the absolute titans here with 2 laps to go. And I was about to mention, we had a note from our producer, Ryan Bauer, in the broadcast chat a little while ago. He said you can never count anyone out in M&R. He said it for Proceller8. We can say the same deal for the defending winner in the opening race, at least for last season, Anthony Alfredo. 13th is where he will restart. We'll see if he can catch up through all those positions. It's been so tough to pass, but can they make it to the white under the green flag? Pace car is down, and will maybe the final restart in the Proceller8 300 from the virtual Talladega Super Speedway. Shieldhouse, Smithley head-to-head into the Geico restart zone. Shieldhouse up and away. 2 laps left to settle it.
A bad launch from Matt Stolnick in that 41, third, fourth in the outside line. He is holding up Presley Storer and the rest of that outside group. They've got to hurry up and hurry up now if they want to have a shot to try and win this race here at Talladega. George Balfans Jr., he takes second away from Garrett Smithley. Chase Cabry is in third. Here comes Adam Cabot round the outside. He is not going to get that 4th spot. Here comes George Balfans Jr. tries to get that 20 out of shape, headed to turn 3.
And they're shuffling for 6 on back as well. Presley Storer on the outside with the 41 of Stallneck. They may give some help to the 17 of Adam Cabot, but coming out of turn 4, this time by, will we see the white flag? Balfans Jr. in tow from the 20. They will reach the triangle, they'll exit it, and we'll get the white. 1 more. Interstate Batteries, 1 to go in the Proceller8 300.
Here comes Garrett Smithley round the outside. Belfans on the bottom. He gets loose. He holds onto the race car. Adam Cabot pushing Garrett Smithley up on the high side. They're going to be side by side for the lead down the back straightaway. Shieldhouse down low. He has help from Belfans. Chase Cabry trying to go up the middle. That gets knocked through. Here comes Garrett Smithley. He's clear for the lead in turn 3, coming to the checkered flag.
And they make contact in turn 3. Cummings got into Balfans Jr., who got into Chase Cabry. They're side by side for second. And out of turn 4, Garrett Smithley will look for the checkered flag. No challenge behind him. Garrett Smithley, career win number 4. Smithley takes the Proceller8 300 from Talladega.
What a finish. And I mean, he's got to thank Adam Cabot for the push of the year. Coming through 1 and 2 on that last lap to get him out in front of David Shieldhouse. And just with that contact behind, if Balfans and Cabry don't make that contact and crash, they may have a shot to get to him, but because they're stuck side by side, coming through 3 and 4, they don't have a shot at getting to that 78 of Garrett Smithley, and he can pick his line, pick which one to block if they get a run. And a huge, huge win for Garrett Smithley to put him into the Monday Night Racing playoffs for the first time this season. First driver to make it. Could not get in a season ago. He's the first guy to get in this time.
That's redemption for Smithley as he burns it down on the front straightaway here from Talladega. Again, his 4th career victory and his first since July 26, a long time ago. Super late models at Nashville Super Speedway. His last race win in M&R back in season 3. And he finally will have a checkered flag in hand once again. And like I said, Jacob, that meaningful ticket to the playoffs this season. Not having to worry about the rest of the campaign from now on out. And Garrett Smithley wins a stunner here from the virtual Talladega Super Speedway with this Proceller8 300. Let's take a look at the full field results as they run. Garrett Smithley takes career win number 4. David Shieldhouse and Adam Cabot locked side by side coming to the end. Could not do anything to catch the Smithley, but still prominent efforts out of Shieldhouse and Cabot, the 20 and the 17, some of the strongest cars we've seen all race long. Presley Storer, despite all of the trials, despite all of the obstacles, the defending champion is able to resurge for P4 out on the racetrack when the checkered flag waved. DJ Cummings made a risky move in a turn 3 coming into the final lap, and he ends up racking up the top 5. It'll be Ford Martin for Crypto Autosport able to take away P6. A nice effort for Crypto Autosport there, 4th, 5th, and 6th out on the racetrack at the end of it. Joey Padgett in his rookie debut race does good with it and finishes P7. Anthony Alfredo rebounds to P8. Not enough for the win, but still a solid top 10 effort. Matt Stolnick in the number 41 got hit near the end of the race. He ends up P9. Raja Karuth Jacob hits the final driver to finish in the top 10.
I believe my pick, Stolnick there, finished P9. I don't remember everybody's picks, but my guy's pretty high up. Same. Max Kennett finishes in 11th. Nick Olson finishes 12th. Gabe Wood finishes in 13th. Ryan Vargas was up toward the front a lot of today. He finishes 14th. Justin Malillo, a good finish for him. He finishes 15th. Colin Fern, we talked about, he missed the start, had to claw his way back, got involved in a couple of accidents late. He finishes 16th. George Belfans Jr. was in the top 5 on the last lap. Does not finish there. He finishes 17th. Joshua Slate in 18th. Josh Balicki in 19th. Christian Eckes rounding out the top 20.
You know what? Unfortunately, Jacob, you are right. You had the highest pick out of any of us. So you had the points lead going after week 1 going into Twin Ring Motegi. So that must feel good. 21st goes to the Hawaiian Will Rogers in his number 7 machine. It'll be Chase Cavery. Had some contact at the end, but you cannot disregard the effort that he put in all race long after starting on pole. A finish not reflective of Cavery's effort tonight. Case Collenbach, who was Eric's pick, finishes in 23rd. My pick, Gary Sexton, finishes in 24th. Got caught up in a wreck near the latter half of the race. Jordan Buster, in his first debut race here in MNR, finishes inside the top 25. It'll be Brett Baldick in P26, 27th for the 51 of Corey Heim, 28th for the Charlotte Phoenix esports driver James Bickford, and it'll be a 29th place finish for Devin Henry in the 77, and Charlie Brown in the 58 rounds out the top 30.
And the rest of the field going down through. Robbie Lyons finishes in 31st. Ron Capps finishes in the 32nd position. 33rd, Stephen Font. 34th, Bailey Turner. He had a really strong car, just couldn't finish the job at the end. Preston Pardis finishes 35th. Stephen Ellis, 36th. Joey Savitke finishes 37th. Natalie Decker, 38th. Zach Osborne, 39th. Seth Eggert, 40th. Connor Berry, 41st. And Michael Massey rounds out the field of 42 starters tonight. And by the way, Mark Urbillis is back with his $100 for the guy that finishes the highest with 0 incidents. This week, it belongs to David Schulthouse in second. We'll talk to him in a bit, but first, let's talk with our race winner here, Kenneth, Garrett Smithley.
Indeed so. A checkered flag holder in the opening race of Season 6. Garrett Smithley, you're able to get it done. You started second on that last restart. You were able to bully your way to first, and you held everybody at bay. But first of all, just give us your thoughts on how you feel. Win number 4 in your MNR career, and you're locked into the playoffs.
Locked into the playoffs. I will take that over the entire disaster of my season last year. I said in media day when we were doing all those videos that my goal was to at least just make the playoffs. I don't even think that I said win a race. I just wanted to make the playoffs. So we got it done. Can't believe that. This is absolutely my favorite car in iRacing. The COT is so fun, especially at Talladega where it's unrestricted, going 240 miles an hour into the corner. It's so fun. Once we got going there, the first run was a lot of fun, and then obviously we had some cautions there in the middle, but then that last run was just a blast. And I was pretty very trusting in all the guys around us. I knew Shieldhouse and George and Cabot, they were all going to be good guys to race around. So glad we could race it out, and just what a relief. I can just sit here and coast for the rest of the season. It feels good.
Surely does feel good. And you talked about the combo there, how fun it was for you behind the wheel, but were there any significant challenges? No, a lot of guys struggled with sliding up the racetrack. It looked like passing seemed to be at a premium if you can get it to happen. So what seemed to be the biggest challenge and obstacle for you over the course of the 113 laps?
Yeah, I honestly think the biggest thing was just having people around you that you trusted. I was trying to ride for most of the race. Unfortunately, I got caught up. It was like a single car incident, and whoever it was slid down, and I had to use my fast repair like right away. So I was legitimately on pins and needles the entire race, just avoiding crashes, and I had some pretty sketchy moments there. But I think just position yourself in the correct position. I had actually Josh Mendoza and James Edwards, Jimmy Jingles, my spotter from last year. They were kind of doing strategy for me during that race, and Josh made the call there at the end to stay out and then go that next 10 laps, and then once the caution came out, then everybody came in, and that positioned ourselves to be in the top 5 there for the end. So I think just tire management and having the right runs and then having the right help. And then when it was all said and done, Adam Cabot, I got to give him a shout out. He's the one that pushed me and gave me the push around Shield House for the win. So thanks to him. I know we've had our run-ins. Actually, we kind of were reminiscing down in the green room before I came on here. So kind of funny that he was the guy. He said that I should split my winnings with him. I don't know what you guys think, but I told him let's see how the rest of the season goes.
I like that. I like that as well. But your first win in M&R since season 3, Super Late Models at Nashville Super Speedway. So it has been a little while since you've gone to victory lane here in this series. But how much does that mean to you being able to finally come back on top and to kick it off in the best way possible for season 6?
Oh my gosh. And I'm streaming right now. Shout out to the Lean stream. They saw my reaction live. I told them that I feel like that I just about broke my Logitech wheel. I was hitting it so hard. And yelling. I probably woke all my neighbors up, but yeah, it feels good. I know it's it's virtual racing, it's iRacing, but it's real racing. It really is. In every facet, this season is probably the most competitive season that we've ever seen. There's so many good drivers, since the start of MNR. So it feels really good to do it, and to do it in the number 78 car, trophy tractor. Black Draft, BJ McLeod Motorsports. It was announced a couple weeks ago that I'm going full-time in the Xfinity Series in BJ McLeod's number 78 car. So really awesome to get my first win in the 78 car on iRacing, first time out in MNR. So the debut of the 78 went super well, and hopefully we can continue it. And I guess the sights are set on the championship now. We're going to hopefully get into that next round and race for a championship at the end of it.
All the nerves calm going into Twin Wing Motegi and the rest of the campaign until the playoffs begin later on, I believe, close to 2023. But Garrett, of course, first of all, congratulations on that opportunity with BJ McLeod and that 78. We wish you the best of luck on track next year in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. But congratulations on the win here tonight in this Proceller8 300 from the Talladega Super Speedway. Go enjoy it with the Lean stream. We'll see you at Twin Wing Motegi next week.
Yeah, we got to give a shout out to Ford and everybody at MNR that puts this on. Interstate Batteries are coming back on board. And you guys, the broadcasters that make us look good. So we appreciate it, and we'll see you guys next week.
That is Garrett Smithley in the 78 with his 4th career MNR victory. And it comes here at the season opener in Season 6 from the virtual Talladega Super Speedway. Jacob Hitz, you are caught up with second place finisher David Schildhaus.
Monday Night Racing's Mark Martin. I thought you had this one. I really did. Take us through those last 2 laps.
I'll take that as a compliment. I appreciate that. Mark Martin had a good career still, but
yeah,
it's I'm so shocked that the outside worked for Garrett. Like, I was watching him. We got a good getaway. Starting up front as the leader on every restart, I felt really confident that I could just control the lanes good enough for 2 laps that if it got into a green-white checker, I'd be okay. Coming to the white, I felt pretty good about things. George was doing a good job pushing me along. Almost too good of a job on the backstretch on the first lap because I was looking at the outside wall. But I saw Garrett get loose going into 1 and run that middle lane on the white flag lap, and I was like, surely he's done. Like, he has to have lost speed. And he just, I don't know, he just kept coming. Like, he was just there. And I thought about moving up off of 2 to block him, and I just didn't make the right decision. I could have, because he really couldn't have gone anywhere. I would have forced him to run into me. Maybe it wrecks me, I don't know. But I just chose to run with George and hope that Garrett didn't clear me going into 3. That was my only hope at that point. And he cleared me, and it was over. I knew at that point it was over. There's just not enough real estate coming off of 4 to get a run back to try and do something with him. He played it perfectly. He got a great push from behind from Cabot, and he did everything right there. It's painful to finish second in a race that you lead so many laps like this, but I'm really proud, really happy to give Habana Barisa a great first run here in Monday Night Racing. They got a lot of TV time tonight. I'm sure they're really ecstatic about that. Make sure you go check out Habana Barisa on Amazon. It's reef-friendly sun care, great sunscreen products for adults and kids, and they've come on board to sponsor me here in Monday Night Racing, and I want to make sure they have a great experience. So go check them out on Amazon. throw out all the other sunscreen in your closet because it's all junk. They're the only good one in town. And so big shout out to them. Big thank you to Alpha Prime Racing and Market Rebellion and Ryan Pastana for the paint scheme, Dylan Nadwadney for all the promo stuff, the video, the graphic, and everybody at twitch.tv/Shieldhouse, the children. They were cheering. They thought they were getting a win tonight. I thought I was getting a win tonight. So we'll settle for second. Just, yeah, that one stings a little bit. We'll get him next week. We'll be back next week. Don't you worry, Jacob Hits. The 20 car, it always comes back.
It always does. Now, on that last lap, there was the contact behind you where George Balfans Jr., Chase Cabri got turned around. If they didn't make that contact and they stayed glued to your back bumper, do you think you would have had a shot there at Garrett? Or just once Garrett cleared you, knew it was game over no matter what happened behind you?
I don't think there was going to be enough because I had to deal with Cabot. You know, him and I run side by side cleanly, as we usually do, fighting for second and third at that point. I don't think there was enough energy behind me if they don't wreck to get me back up there. Garrett just had such incredible speed. I'm still a bit dumbfounded by it, honestly. Like, damn, he did it right, and sometimes that's the way these goes. Lord knows I've won my fair share of races with things just going my way or playing it the right way, and I'll replay this back for probably a couple days in my mind, but at the end of the day, a hard-fought victory, a clean victory. I don't think you can really ask for much more than that other than me being in victory lane, but we'll get there.
Congratulations on the second place finish tonight, and we'll see you next week from Japan, Twin Ring Motegi. Best of luck.
Do I get to share a row with you on the airplane? Do you want the aisle seat or the window seat?
I'll take the aisle, I guess. You're talking to somebody that has never been on a plane, so I'm sorry. I don't know what you want from me.
All right.
Where have I gone? All right, where have I needed to go?
I've seen you in Martinsville. You could take a plane.
Cars are a wonderful thing, and that was back when gas was cheaper. So there you have it. Thanks, David. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, boys. We'll see you then.
That's David Shieldhouse P2 tonight. Well, but I'm thinking it based off of room, right? I'm a bigger guy. If I go to the window seat, I'm stuck up against the wall and the person next to me. I go to the aisle, I've got the room next to me. Yeah, I get out of the way when people go by, but I've at least got the aisle to lean out a little bit. I've got a little more space over. Anyway, let's talk with third place finisher Adam Cabot before he falls asleep, Kenneth.
Well, certainly not the only person flying here tonight in this field. Adam Cabot finishing P3 here tonight. And I know, Adam, it was a little tough there coming out of turn 4. You had a couple of the guys wreck behind you. Did you feel there was anything that could have been done, anything that could have happened there to help you get the win over Garrett Smithley?
Not really. I mean, restarting on the outside there, I think in fourth, I had an opportunity with, somewhere with 2 laps to go to get down to the bottom and get in line, which, the bottom was definitely the preferred groove tonight. But, I knew with only 2 laps left and not much tire wear, everyone was going to be painting the yellow. There wasn't going to be anything, any moves I can make down there. So I'm like, well, I might as well just floor it on the high side and see if I can make something happen. And I was shocked that Garrett pulled out in front of me, and then I was shocked that it actually ended up pushing him to the win. So, yeah, I mean, I felt pretty in control of that race. It was pretty much myself, David, Vargas, and there was a handful of other players who were up there at different times during the race, but just kept getting, just kept restarting on the outside lane, which just was not preferred towards the end there. And yeah, unfortunately couldn't get the win, but at the same time, third place finish, solid way to start the season. And also my first top 3 with Atlas in the car. So that's pretty cool. Got to give a big shout out to them. Use code MNR at atlas.com and you will get, atlashair.com. It's been a while. And you'll get 20% off and free shipping. So it was, good way to start the season. Wish I could have also got David too, because he got me by 1,000th of a second, and we were battling for the top driver without an incident point tonight, and that would have been $100 right there. So see a lot of money out my windshield, but like I said, third place, good way to start the season.
Definitely so, and I'm going to talk to you about that for a little bit, of course. Coming off of last season, no, it wasn't necessarily the championship bid to go 2 in a row like you were hoping for, but still a solid season overall. To finish third here at the start of Season 6, what does that mean for your momentum moving forward as you try to also yearn for a playoff ticket?
Yeah, I mean, it's a really good start to the season. I mean, to have that many points, especially when you have a field this big, 43 drivers, there's a lot of opportunities for power players in the league to get poor finishes. And I haven't looked through the order yet, but I'm sure some of them did. So, anytime you can come out of here with a top 5, top 10. That's a really good day points wise, and I certainly didn't have that going for me last season. So that's already a better start to this year than last year for sure. But at the same time, I think last year showed how important wins are. You got to get those playoff points to carry you through the rounds later in the playoffs. So, definitely bummed that I was that competitive today. I mean, even when I was riding in second, I was just kind of riding back there, waiting to make my move. So, definitely bummed that I got shuffled out just by really just getting stuck in the outside lane on restarts. But like I said, good start to the season, and I'll take those points and move on to wherever the heck it is we're going next.
Oh, we're actually heading to Japan next week. Twin Ring Motegi with the ARCA cars, and I'm just going to ask you about that. I know this is a tough combo in its own right, even driving by yourself. The COTs at Talladega is so tough to drive, but you get to challenge one of the more unique combos we see in Season 6, Twin Ring Motegi, which is a very oddball track, ARCA cars on it. Any expectations for that and how you're going to plan to be competitive there?
I assume we're running the oval?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I don't really know what to tell you about expectations because I think I've only run one race there before in an IndyCar. So I don't really know if there's much I can take from that experience and apply to the ARCA car, but it should be plenty of off throttle time and brake. And it sounds like something that probably will fit into my wheelhouse. So maybe we can start the season with 2 straight top 3s. Hopefully win next week.
We certainly appreciate the time. Nonetheless, Adam, again, congratulations on the 3rd place finish here tonight in the Proceller8 300 from the virtual Talladega Super Speedway. Wishing you and your team the best of luck heading to Twin Ring Motegi 1 week from tonight.
All right. Thanks, Kenneth.
That's Adam Cabot finishing our top 3, finishes the 17 car there, and that caps off our segment 4 driver interviews. Jacob, what a race. Wow, a lot of things to unpack here with the COTs at Talladega. We knew for sure going into it was going to be a tough combo. Not sure if we were expecting what was to follow there for the next 113 laps. One thing is for certain, Garrett Smithley, a huge weight lifted off his shoulders and a big win for the lean stream too.
And I'd argue a bit of an upset. I didn't think that he was going to have the shot tonight. Not that I didn't think he could do it. I just thought that there was going to be somebody else that was going to be there at the right time, at the right moment. And watching Garrett throughout the last year, man, he has had some rotten luck trying to get back to victory lane. You talked about it. It's been since Season 3 since he's won in Monday Night Racing. I just thought that luck was going to continue. But right out of the gate here in Season 6, he has proven that, hey, you know what? I'm a guy that's ready to compete week in and week out. He's going to win week number 1. He may not be done yet and going to victory lane. There's a long season to go. A lot of racetracks that could be on his side, especially by the time we get to the playoffs. Garrett Smithley has to be somebody that's at least in the back of your mind at this point in talking about a championship run. We've seen him get close before. I think it could happen again this year.
And remember the last time he went to victory lane before tonight, that Season 3 race, Super Late Models in Nashville Super Speedway, that was the second of his 2 straight. He had 1 cup at Las Vegas the week prior. So if there's anyone that can go 2 in a row, it could be Garrett Smithley and the lean stream. It is definitely possible, but we turn our attention now to what's going to happen 1 week from tonight. It has been a while, Jacob Hitz, since we have visited Japan. Twin Ring Motegi, I know we were making some flying jokes. We're going to be jet lagged to all hell by the time we get to Twin Ring Motegi, but with the ARCA cars, a very interesting combo, and it should provide for a unique challenge for a lot of the field.
I'll be completely honest. I don't even know if I own the racetrack on iRacing. It's a track that just nobody touches, nobody goes to, and that's why I'm glad we're going there, just because it's something unique. Not a lot of people have experience on that racetrack, especially in the ARCA car. So it's going to be a balancing act as, well, who practiced, who didn't. I have a feeling we're going to see that take place at the very beginning, and those guys that are quick learners, maybe that didn't practice, we'll see them catch on as time rolls along. But with those ARCA cars, man, we could stay green for much of that race, or we could have 37 cautions like we had tonight. We're just going to have to find out. I feel like that's every week in M&R, that we could go caution-free. We could keep racking them up, stacking them up, and then crashing into the first corner. And that's what I love about this series. It's so unpredictable. You never know what could happen, and I think we're going to see that next week at Twin Ring Motegi, just because I really don't know what to expect going into next week. It's one of those oddball races that really could make or break somebody's season next week if it goes along with somebody's driving style that maybe the rest of the races don't. Twin Ring Motegi could be their only shot to go to victory lane and get themselves into the playoff.
And what that's going to do is shake up the playoff order, and if we have multiple winners, it could just make things tight by the time we get to that regular season finale, which will happen right here at the virtual Talladega Superspeedway with the NASCAR Next Gen cars. But for tonight, that's all. She does it from Talladega Superspeedway in the Proceller8 300. It's Garrett Smithley with career win number 4 as we head into Twin Ring Motegi 1 week from tonight. So for Ford Martin and Paul Sutton at Monday Night Racing, everybody on behalf of Race Control, for Gary Sexton and John Theodore, our Podium Esports, for our producer tonight, Ryan Bauer, for Cameron Arbidon on social media, for our overlay builder, Michael Hall, and for my colleague in the booth for tonight's broadcast, Jacob Hitz, my name is Kenneth Bueno. Saying so long from the virtual Talladega Superspeedway. Congratulations to Garrett Smithley. We'll see you 1 week from tonight on the other side of the globe at Twin Ring Motegi.